And we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Fresh Fit Podcast. We're here in Vegas again with the squad, man. The Las Vegas Avengers assemble, man. Y'all see them and y'all remember them. Let's get into it.
Let's go.
All right.
We are back.
And we are back. What's up, guys? Welcome to Fresh Fit Podcast, man. In Las Vegas, man. You know, bringing a little bit of Miami 305 over here to the 702. But, guys, we got a special episode, man. We got the Las Vegas Avengers. We got some faces that you might be familiar with, some faces you might not be familiar with. So we're going to go ahead and introduce them. We're going to start to my left, man. We know who you are, but can you introduce yourself to the people?
My name is Aaron Clary, and I run Asshole Consulting.
Fantastic.
It's actually called Asshole.
It is actually called Asshole Consulting.
Right. I was wondering who took that.
Very
website.
curious.
He's also a well-renowned asshole.
Yeah. Well, tell them a little bit more about yourself, man.
Seasoned.
Oh, well, okay. I was a banker originally, an economist, and then F that. And I wrote a book quite some time ago, and that was when self-publishing was just new, but that brought me into the world of writing and publishing and then blogging, and as bandwidth expanded, got into podcasting and YouTube. Then I ran into you two Hanyakers, and I regretted it ever since. So, but yeah, that's the books are largely financially related, economics related, and so yeah, people have questions about how the origin. People had questions. I didn't have time to keep up with it. I say, I know, I'll set up this company called assholeconsulting.com, and they'll go away, and now it accounts for about a third of my revenue.
Bam.
Nice.
All right. Fantastic.
You actually operated under the title economist.
Yeah.
I'm in disbelief at this guy. You're an actual economist.
Back in the day, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It was.
Okay.
Being an asshole's better. I'll tell you that. I like it better.
Oh, it's my turn.
Yes.
Your turn.
The one and only. The big homie. Your favorite YouTuber's
You are.
favorite YouTuber.
Ooh.
The idol of James Bond. Ooh. Marquette Devon Burton. The Saint and the Sinner. Background in technology, founded technology companies, sold technology companies. The Saint and the Sinner on YouTube, entrepreneurship, product-based business, simple things everyone can do if they focus and work hard.
All right.
Awesome. Welcome. And I am Dollar Cost Crypto, Hex Jesus. Started in crypto in 2016 and co-founded the largest cryptocurrency course in the world, along with my partner in crime.
Charlie from Cultivate Crypto. Basically, we started my YouTube channel back in 2019, trying to get people an honest take on what's happening in crypto, because there's a lot of bad information out there. I would say, just like the coins out there, 95 to 99% of all information about crypto is pretty much trash out there. So yeah, that's our goal here, is basically to get good information to retail, which basically just means average everyday people, and getting them to level up their game when it comes to money. So we've been on your guys' platform before because back in 2019, we helped get you guys into crypto.
Yep.
And then, we've been helping a lot of you guys basically getting into crypto, making some money here. So it's just one of those income streams that's really good, and I think everybody should have a bit of some. And then on top of that, I guess my previous life before I was a YouTuber, I was a corporate recruiter helping people to change their jobs in tech companies in Tokyo.
Oh, nice.
Bam.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm Michael Sartay. I'm a retired U.S. Air Force officer. I flew special ops for 7 years in the Air Force. And then I did counter intel for the last year and a half. And then when I got out, I started trading. I became a professional stock option seller for since 2013 until probably 2019. I used to work for Tasty Trade and Tasty Works. There's some former pit traders from Chicago that started that company. And I was one of the follow traders for them for a long time. I managed a small fund as a quantitative analyst for a little while. And then I moved here, and during the time here, I started managing all the bikini competitions here. I do all the recruiting for them. I host all of the, about half of the Maxim parties. I'm the red carpet host for it. I do all of the celebrity charity events. in Los Angeles, and like I said before, all 3 of the major bikini series here in Las Vegas. I'm the main recruiter and the main host for it. And then I have the Michael Sartain podcast. And most importantly, I have MOAmentoring.com, where I teach you how to use social media in order to network. I teach you evolutionary psychology, entrepreneurship. I teach you leadership studies and a bunch of other stuff, winning mindset, and basically how to show up to a club with, how to show up to a party with 140 girls.
Nice.
Bam.
Yep.
All I do is hang still, Michael. I don't know. My name is Justin Waller. I own real estate, and I have a large construction company. We hang steel from coast to coast. So anywhere there's steel in the country or outside the country, we will do it. I also have a YouTube channel, Jay Waller. I help guys develop themselves in every way and obviously get them into the war room where we can develop them in a deeper level. So it's very fulfilling work. I enjoy it quite a bit, and I get to be friends with these assholes. So it's a good time.
Awesome.
Man, this is a awesome round table, and honestly, I want to say this from the bottom of my heart. I'm really proud to have all of you guys as friends, really, real talk. And I'm happy to share you guys with the audience because a lot of you guys have unique expertises, different experiences that we can all learn from. So I'll hit the panel with the first question before we hit the super chats. We got a lot of successful guys here too, so I want to get your guys' points. We can start with Justin on this one. How important is it to get your money on point in today's day and age?
Right behind fitness, the most important thing.
Yeah.
We were just having a conversation today in the halls, actually, about some of the younger guys that seem to want to focus on women at the wrong time. And we all feel like it's kind of a moot thing until you get your fitness and your finances together, because you're competing in an environment against people that do have those things together. And at a young age, when you should still be developing and working on money, you're competing against guys like us with girls your age that are going to date up anyway. So particularly for the young guys, it's the number one focus. But for any man in the dating market at all, money is an absolute must, because I think we all agree that hypergamy is real. Whether we want to blame women for that or not, I think is up to debate about. I personally don't. I just think it's human nature.
Yeah.
But it is a factor, and so you can get mad or you can play ball. Money is way, way, way up there. And in fact, I put it right behind or very level with fitness.
Yeah.
The thing that social media did, it did not help men meet women. It helped a small group of men at the top meet all of the women. If you look on dating apps, Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge deem 80% of men to be unattractive, and 63% of the right swipes go to the top 10% of men. What's happened is, back in the day, the guy who had the physique, the Lamborghini, or the nice car, he had maybe a 10 or 15% advantage, but it was only the people in his city who saw him, and now that advantage is exponential. So it's not, do you have money? It's that the next guy does. It's not. And so is there a minimum level? Not everyone who's watching this needs to be a multimillionaire. Some of you will, some of you won't. But there needs to be a level of subsistence that you have to where you can afford some basic necessities so that a woman would want to go out with you. You can go on vacation. It's not a big deal if she orders something expensive at the restaurant. You don't trip over money, because, as you know, Rollo, who's not here right now, we put up the Golden Knights helmet for Rollo. As Rollo was saying before, one of the most common reasons for divorce is when a woman starts making more money than the man. Yeah. And that's one of the situations. When it's my money, it's our money, and when it's her money, it's her money. So that's the difference. We're not going to see that money. So that's one of the situations. It's not just that you have to make money, it's that the next guy is.
Fair enough.
Good point.
One word, all you really need to focus on, I think, at this point in time when it comes to money is inflation, right?
Yeah.
So start there, right? And then the other question, the other, I think, big factor here is how many hours per day do you guys work, right? Like, I know obviously everybody's running their own business, has a different schedule. And then how many hours per day do you think the average person works on either any given day or any given week? Like, what would you guys say?
40 hours.
Or you could say
50 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
40 to 50 hours, I would say
40
most.
hours?
We're talking about men or women?
Men.
Yeah, 40
Yeah.
to 50 hours, I would say most guys that have a full-time job.
I have a
Right.
question for that.
Yeah.
Out of that 40 hours, how many hours do you think that guy's actually working?
20?
Yeah.
20,
Yeah.
25?
Yeah.
40%, half.
20?
So that's great. Yeah, there's some
So-
studies that talk about this. I don't know if, Aaron, you've
Yeah.
probably seen these before. When they cut work days down, people were more productive.
Oh, it depends
Right.
on the industry.
They were
Yeah,
bullshitting
yeah.
half the time. Go ahead.
No. So yeah, basically, you work you use most of your waking hours to do what? Get money, right? And so if you're spending that much time to get value out of the world and give value to the world, right? You want to keep that money, right? Like, you want to be able to spend that money in 10 years.
Yeah.
And with inflation, it's the dragon that most people don't pay attention to, right?
Yeah.
And it's the dragon that's coming for you no matter what. Like, you cannot stop it. And even the government says they're trying to tame inflation. The fucking government can't stop inflation.
The government's disgusting.
And so when it comes to that, if you think about it that way, you're spending that much time every single day to try to get money, and then you say money is evil and it's a resource that I'm not going to try to go after because it's hard, right? That's just stupid to me. It makes no sense. Like, so if you're going to spend that much time of your life working for something, you should fucking keep it, and it should be yours, right? So that's why we're in crypto, because the government does not look out for you in that way. Right. I mean, they don't look out for you. They don't care about you. You guys talk about that all the time.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well said. And yeah, man, what money is to me, it's freedom. It's freedom of movement. I mean, this is why we're in the crypto space. Banks can't tell us what to do. I move my money whenever I want to. And this is like, I feel like crypto and the red pill has really merged together really well, because it's all about having that ability of freedom, of like choice, freedom of money. I mean, Rolo says it all the time, you know, that, you know, I'm not giving you prescriptions. I'm telling you the information, and it's up to you to choose your adventure and what you want to do with it. But without money, you can't do anything. I mean, everyone, if you don't have money, you're a slave. Period. I mean, I wish it wasn't like that, but you know, there's a lot of people here that are able to do it through business, hanging steel, or you know, or crypto, or a lot of other business stuff. There's a lot of ways to make money and stuff, and like a lot of the gentlemen here are very successful. So definitely listen up.
All right.
Number one, shout out. I didn't know you were in Chicago. Actually, when I was early in my tech career, I pitched at Tasty Trade to some of their founders.
Oh,
so,
did you?
Yeah.
To Tom and Tony?
Yeah, way back in the day.
Tom and Tony are my those guys are my mentors. They taught me how to trade. Yeah.
With regards to money, I think the number one thing that young people need, and I guess probably people who aren't experienced with money, is the proper mindset. After amassing a decent amount of money, I figured out how to be poor. I'm not poor, but I figured out how to be poor, which is to say that money matters a lot when you don't have any. And then once you get some money, it doesn't matter at all. Once you get to the point where money doesn't matter at all, then you can look at money objectively and understand how to use it, how to protect it, how to grow it, all of those different things. I think most people are missing that. More importantly, there's often a conversation when you're putting the pursuit of women and the pursuit of money against one another, which I don't actually think is the case. I think if you find a proper integration in life, you find a way to deal with women as you strive on your pursuit of finances. I don't think you have to exclude them totally, but that requires meaningful mindset in which you let this chick know, hey, shorty, you're not my goal. This is my goal. I'm going this way. If you'd like to accompany me, fantastic. I'm going to spend my night working. If you'd like to hang out and sit right there and periodically bring me water while I'm working, join me on this adventure. Yeah. And anytime we spend money, that's because you were a part of the process of me making money. And we're going to be not parsimonious, but we're going to be thrifty because I'm wise. And as you said, you want to keep your money. There's a number of different ways to do that. Yep. And so making sure that you're taking proper leadership of that female in your pursuit to wealth, I think you can do both at the same time. But the priority is money, money, money. And when you said it's right up there with fitness, I thought you were about to say it's right up there with God. And I was about to say, you're right, it's right. It's not there, but it's very, very close. And I think there's a spiritual level to finances. And once you understand that, then you can relax and enjoy life. And shout out to crypto, because you're right. It gives you that disconnect from government. Because my last bit on money is people don't realize they think banks are private institutions. Banks are government institutions.
Right.
Yep.
They're government institutions, and let you go to the bank and try to take out more than 10K and see how many issues they cause you. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Try to
notify my old friends.
Try sending a wire right now. You can't.
Right.
Let me tell you that much.
They'll lose their shit if you try to withdraw over 10K, or if you want to deposit like 20, 50K, they'll lose their shit.
And the bank has to report it.
Yep.
They have to report over 10K.
Absolutely.
When you buy a bank, you are buying a government accreditation. That's essentially what you're buying. Anyone could just collect assets, but the bank, what you're buying is the actual accreditation that they're getting from the federal government. That's essentially what it is.
I had a 14-day hold on a wire to Coinbase, just because all this stuff is going down with the banks right now.
Someone once said, you have money in the bank? No, you have what they want to give you in the bank. Literally.
Right.
Literally. Good point.
That's 1,000% correct.
I'm just going to echo what Justin said, because he's 100% correct. They always say, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. Well, money is the exact same way. If you don't have your money and your finances together, you don't have anything, because money is what allows you to live life. You need it because money is time. That's all it is. And all we're doing is exchanging time through this tool of money. So in order to get gas, I need to get money to pay the refiners and the truck drivers and the gas station attendants to do that. And the quicker you accumulate money, and as you pointed out, the less money you need the quicker you get to what you were talking about, Miguel, freedom,
Yep.
to do what you want.
Preach. Yep.
And so, but it is equivalent to your health because, you could have the world's greatest health, but if you're poor, you can't go and buy food, let alone go and enjoy life.
Shout out to all the male strippers here in Las Vegas.
So
Thunder Down Under.
Got
What's
that
up?
health, but no money.
and this is I got to ask this question because, as you guys know, we got a varying audience of ages, right? You got guys that are
18.
young, 15 to 25. Then you got guys that are 25 to 30. You got guys in the 40s and 50s, etc. And let's be honest, a lot of guys, when it comes to pursuing women and money, it's not a clear-cut line. A lot of guys here have the discipline to be able to do the two, or don't let one control the other. But for guys that are kind of trying to do both, or they're in a certain stage in their life, when should men prioritize the acquisition of capital over women? What does that number look like from an annual income standpoint? And then at what point do they go ahead and say, okay, I can load off a little bit on the money and I can now pursue the women? At what age group and income bracket would you say they need to reach to be able to hit that? And we'll say in middle America, we won't say New York City or Miami or one of these like super expensive cities. We'll say somewhere middle America. We can say, let's say a good median city. What's a good maybe a Dallas, Texas?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
perfect.
Maybe I would say that's a safe.
Like that,
Okay, so I'll turn it to you, Aaron. What do you think?
It's hard because
I know,
what's
it's a
your
co-
income and all. I'm going to say this: when you have no debt
Okay.
and you have enough money for a down payment on a house,
Okay.
then
There
I
you go.
think as a young man you are at a position where you could start to entertain the pursuit of women. I'm not saying don't pursue them and don't ask them out if they're there, and don't swear off them or anything. But where I got things stable, I got a good job, I have no debt, and I got a little bit of money in the bank that could potentially buy property with, then I would say you've kind of reached it and you could start entertaining having women be a
How much do you think they
priority.
should have in savings roughly? Because let's say they don't want to buy a house, they want to
minimum.
They
I've
wanna
talked
rent.
about this. Everyone needs a micro FU fund. You need 6 months living expenses.
Okay.
So if your boss F's with you, you lose your job, any kind of thing outside of your control, you're not desperate. You don't have to stay in a toxic work environment. You can live for 6 months, find a job, not be desperate, hold off for a better job. So I'd say at least 6 months living expenses is what you
Question
need.
for you: would you say that's the difference between peace of mind and freedom?
I think it's
having,
both.
Having the 6 months, so being able to tell them,
Yeah,
fuck you.
they kind of Venn diagram. Freedom, no, you need
You
full
need way
FU.
more for
Yeah,
freedom, and that's what I meant.
Yeah.
There's like peace of mind. Hey, fuck you! Don't treat me that way. I'll quit, get another
Right.
job. And then there's true financial freedom.
Right. And since Fresh and Fit's audience kind of skews a little bit younger than mine, especially for younger guys, the mistake I made was always paying off my debts. Everything went to pay off debts, and I did not have this micro FU fund. And you are going to run into mentally ill bosses, psychopathic bosses, companies that just go bankrupt because of economic factors. Nothing malicious there. You don't want to be, oh my God, I need to find another job immediately. You could, if you got 6 months living expenses. Oh, by the way, employers are going to lowball you on your first job offer, no matter what. You never take that. You're like, no, 25% more minimum.
Yep.
So you can bluff. You say, no, I need this much. You should be able to go in and say, I need a living wage for this area. You will pay me a living wage. And that includes residents near the office you want me to go to downtown. So if I got to come downtown and I got to pay for park, no, I ain't commuting. You're paying for a downtown loft, that rent. Otherwise, I'm not interested. Well, we can't afford. Fine, buy. You have 6 months living expenses. So just saving that money is absolutely critical at the very early stages of your career and development.
That's leverage, man.
When do you
Yeah.
think they should have? What's a good? Because everyone is different. But when do you think is a good time in their life to have that? By what age you would say?
Generally.
Generally.
If we were to have the perfect world, not a single person would go to college for a year. You would stay at home, live at home, and work 2 full-time jobs and save up that 6 months. You would also minimize your expenses, so you couch surf or whatever, you get a used car, so that 6 months money is a lot less, or you got a year's worth of living expenses. So that's what I would do. Then you could go to college, throw it into some average returning fund, whatever you want. And then when you graduate, you should have a very tidy little nest egg there that allows you not to be taken advantage of in the labor market.
And people forget, when you have money saved up, you have confidence too as well.
Yeah.
So you can move forward, make more risks, and you're more confident in that way.
Right.
Okay. Marquette?
You never change your priority.
Okay.
Your priority is always the money. You don't ever, and I don't care how much money you have, it's always the money. And that's spiritually important. It never is the woman. which is not to say I don't still talk to 3 women a day. I want to get contact info from 3 women a day.
Yep.
The valet girl, the waitress, and whoever else, all day, every day. But I will never prioritize them over a financial opportunity. I will never prioritize them over working. And here's the thing, I like working. I enjoy working. So I'm going to work until I don't. What I use women for is when I've exhausted my ability to work. I'm fried and I'm not thinking, I'm not firing on all cylinders. Okay, cool. Let's go watch a boxing match.
Right.
Was that what she wanted to do? No, that's what I want to do tomorrow. Benavidez, by the way, Benavidez is about to body the boy.
Yeah.
Caleb's a friend, but Benavidez is about to go yeah. So that's number one. Don't you ever prioritize that female. It's unnecessary. It will mess her head up and it will mess your life up.
All right.
Number two, obviously, we can get deeper based on an individual person's demographics, but let me say this generally. If you're a younger man, which is to say 25 or younger, and you live in a developed economy, you should be hyper aggressive.
Okay.
So he and I are on different ends. I want you hyper aggressive because you're going to try to make millions of dollars. And here's the thing. If you screw up, what happens? You live in your mom's house? If you screw up, what happens? You're going to starve to death? No. I want you to take every opportunity to be extremely aggressive, extremely ambitious. If you're doing crypto, go hard as hell. If you're doing stock,
No sleep, gang.
Use some margin trade. Go crazy up until age 25 because you have no dependents. You need to take every chance to make money.
Yep.
Fast, because the time matters. So all this like save up, no, forget all that. You don't have any kids and you live in the West. Now, if you live in Somalia, it's a different story.
Yeah.
You know, you need to think twice. Now, here's the last piece. When do you start feeling comfortable and maybe confident? Okay. It's when you have skills that you can use in any developed market, irrespective of the language and the particular cultural context. If I can, just like you're in the military, if I could drop a certain kind of military operative and he's like, look, man, give me a goddamn compass and like a toothpick and a goddamn plastic bag and I can MacGyver this stuff. Same thing financially. When you have that skill set to where you say, okay, I might not have this money that he's talking about having saved up, but I'm a hustler and I have a skill set and I can make money every month no matter what. When you figured out how to offer value to a marketplace on a consistent basis, you don't have to worry about how much you saved up. You don't have to worry about inflation. You don't have to worry about all this other stuff. And if you happen to be smart on top of that, which is not a necessity, you need focus, but you don't need high intelligence. Once you have those things, you say, look, I'm harder working, I'm more focused and more intelligent than the average person. If I end up in bad shape, there's going to be a revolution because that means that there was already 80% of the human population was starving to death. If I'm starving to death, everybody's starving to death. So you don't have to worry. And a part of that is mindset too. People get too concerned with the dollar amount. One thing I figured out being around wealthy people, none of them have peace from the dollar amount. None of them feel secure with their money based on the dollar amount. It's based on your decisions and your understanding.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Marquette, because you're, a lot of people say, college is a scam, it's bullshit, whatever. You were able to use the education system to your advantage and, get into the tech field, etc. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about if someone is going to decide to go to college and pursue higher education, how do they go about it intelligently so they don't get a useless degree?
This is actually something I have expertise in because I actually created technology that was around college retention.
Asked.
So, number one, college is not a scam, but what most people choose to study in college is a scam.
There you go. Yeah.
If it ends in the word studies, it's a fake degree. African American studies, Chicano studies, gender studies. Damn, you're studying yourself? You're an African American, you're studying yourself? That's dumb. No one pays for that. Sociology, English. Oh, damn, doesn't everyone speak English, my boy? What do you do with that degree? Oh, you write a book? Nah, you don't need that for that. That's dumb. We all know what the good degrees are. Right. Look at where the Asians, the Indians, and the foreign blacks, right?
Where the Nigerians are at. Where the Nigerians
You know the way?
You know the way?
Yeah.
I know the way.
I know the way.
Accounting, science.
STEM.
And yeah, basically. And there's some things we do need to be cautious of. Like, for example, law is a dying field.
I agree.
Law
unless you're going to a top school, a lot of people don't talk about that. Unless you're going to top law school,
that's right.
It's an L for you.
It's been contracting. Surgery, actually, people don't realize. I used to work at Johns Hopkins Medical. I was the only guy without a PhD or better that had an office there. Surgery is now being done through robotics, and they're doing it better than great surgeons like.
Really?
Yeah. So we need to take an eye to that. And so when young folks tell me, "Oh, I want to go to college," number one, what are you studying? That's number one. And number two, why don't you create a fake resume with that college degree on it and send out some applications and see what you get back?
Right.
Oh,
right.
okay.
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
Right? But mostly I recommend vocations and I recommend a trade. And you can see what they pay straight away because most of us are not scholars. Most of us are not deserving of a liberal arts degree. Like a philosophy department should be the smallest department at any institution because it requires extraordinary intellect, which most of us don't have. And even if you do, that doesn't pay any damn ways. Those are the people who like have to have a patron, right? Like those are like damn near like artists. Like, you know, someone has to like, I value your great thoughts on geopolitics. I'm going to pay to support your existence because it's impractical for the most part. No one gets paid to be a goddamn philosopher today. OnlyFans girls are going to make more money than you do with that fancy degree. So understand
They're showing
markets.
buttholes and you're trying to show your mind.
Right. And don't take a business degree. If you don't have a sense of what you want to do, and I used to lecture at top business schools, Kellogg and all this good stuff. If you don't know what you want to do, a business degree is not going to do much for you. And that includes the MBA. You might get the numbers and you can talk to this gentleman here, have a deep ass conversation, but where's the application? And often the MBA teaches you how to operate in the C-suite in a Fortune 500 company, but you're not going to get hired in a Fortune 500 company. 9 out of 9. Because how many of them? There's 500 of them. Who do you know? So there's just so much depth to it. And like the last piece I'll give is like, always think of it like this. People always say, oh, it's all about who you know. Right. No, it's about who knows you. I might know him and remember his name. Does he remember my name?
Fair enough.
Right.
That's the key.
All right.
Well said.
Awesome.
Damn, dude. Yeah, man.
Miguel,
DeMarco?
so no, that's awesome. So Miguel, for you, so when should guys, you know, the money sliding scale, money, girls, age levels, how much should they have saved, etc.?
It's a classic. I mean, it all depends. I mean, if we're just being for real, depending on what skill set you actually have at the time. I mean, if we're just talking girls versus money and stuff like that, that's just a conversation. Whether like there's some people that are born more Chad than other people, and other people had to work for it. I feel it's always a concentration of like what we found, at least through the courses in crypto, is guys kind of work on this flip switch where 1 minute they're focusing all on money, the next minute it's all girls, and then once that gets filled, they go right back to the money.
Right.
It's always this kind of ping ponging back and forth between girls, guys. I mean, girls and money.
All right, buddy.
Pause. Right. But the one thing I'd probably say to most people when it comes to money would probably be you have to join the capital class. You have to have your money working for you. That doesn't mean that you're not going to be living off of it and stuff, but just being able to like. Your work. I mean, I remember the first time I was working and the market went up 10%, and I made more money in a month than I did in that one day. I made more money in that day in the market than I did working an entire fucking month in the sun. You know what I'm saying? And that is a powerful thing. And it first starts off with a lot of people. It's like that 10% move that happens in the market will end up being, wow, I made more money than I made today in a day, then a week, then a month, then a year, and then like, damn, I'm making more than I made in a decade, and that happens to people over time. I mean, it's a really powerful thing. And then the thing is like people just always like a big mental block a lot of people have is like, I remember back in the day I would try to like. I would make $150 a day or something like that as an example, right? And I would try to like put $100 away into the market and stuff, and it was just like. I would just end up having to dig back into the account. So I think a lot of people need to start with these little baby steps, and $20, $5, it doesn't fucking matter. It's just like clawing every single day. And over time, that nest egg becomes something where you can make a move.
Okay.
That's the power, like getting that, like that's joining the capital class. Obviously you can do it in real estate, you can do it in businesses and stuff. But the only other thing I would probably tell people is like, this is by me joining like the YouTube world and like this whole social media game is like, if you're not making content or if you're not making noise, you are invisible, right? Scale is crazy. It doesn't matter in what you're doing. You could be a fucking landscaper. Like 99% of the people out there, 99% of the roofers are not doing anything on social media at all. And if you were, you'd be getting jobs and stuff. And this is like something like, you know, Justin talks about a lot and stuff when it comes to like blue collar work and stuff. I mean, that's where I came from as well. And I made money without social media, but imagine if with social media, it would just put you to the next level. You could be mediocre. I mean, I'm just being for real. You could be mediocre in whatever you're doing. Yes. But if you have that social media presence, if you're YouTubing, I see guys on YouTube every day fucking posting like, I'm cleaning yards for free, and they get tons of leads. It's about creating this funnel to yourself. And you either are making content or you're nobody. And like you have to have a TV channel. It doesn't matter if you're just an Instagram or Twitter only guy. Just having something that brings like eyeballs to yourself and stuff like.
Okay.
And I learned that all from every single one of you guys here, like from Fresh and Fit to the MOA guys and stuff like that. I mean, with you're doing a fantastic thing when it comes to Instagram, like teaching guys how to like level up their Instagram or how to like I guess how to create that like Justin Waller's so good at actually like getting that flow to yourself, to your business and stuff. It's like always like you want to be so busy where you're turning jobs down.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Fair
having
enough.
a flow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Charlie?
Yeah, I would say there's a couple of like themes here that we're starting to see, right? I would say doubling down on everything that you guys have already said, I would add a few things, right? So in terms of like your health, right? How often should you be focusing on your health? Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Right? So how often should you be focusing on your money? Every fucking day. So there's a level 2 finance, which is just financial literacy. We don't have that in school. We don't have that in university. Even the fucking finance they teach you in university.
When should the guys start learning about it?
You should be learning about that from the first time you get an allowance, the first time you make a fucking nickel, right? So when you,
All the young guys watching, learn now.
yeah, exactly. I would say the prime age is 15 to 25. That's where you're going to get like your core knowledge, right? And then 25 to 30, if you're not like, that should be 25 should be the age where you start like the alarm bells start going off in your head like fuck I'm running out of time, right? Because once you turn 35, like I think a lot of people don't know this about the corporate world, right? Once you turn 35 as a man, your clock is ticking until you're about 50, 55. From about 50, 55, they're going to kick you out of the corporate boardroom, no matter if you're a CEO or if you're, the janitor. Like they're going to get you the fuck out of there no matter how skilled you are, right?
You got to become president then.
Well, you got to run your own business, right?
Yeah.
So the theme that Miguel was touching on,
Talking about of the country.
yeah. Well, like go for glory, right? Go for like I think a lot of people like the American dream, right, is still alive. Where is it alive? It's alive on YouTube. It's alive on social media. It's alive where you get the eyeballs, right? And so right now, why is that the case where we have that as where the place where you can make the most money because you can reach the most people. It has the most network effect. So networking and understanding the digital age is going to be your key to self-sovereignty. The earlier you do that and the more consistent that you do that, the better you will become, the better you will have success. And then for everybody at this table, right, because we have that momentum going, success happens because we keep spinning that momentum wheel, right? So getting that base, getting that foundation is extremely hard. It takes about 5 years of dedication. That's why they have you go to university for 4 to 5 years to become a master at something, right? That's why they have a master's degree. So you want to really focus on it for a period of time at some point for about 5 years before you're 25. And that can be, the hard stuff. But, if you don't have anybody in your life telling you about money, they do not care about you. Right? Anybody who cares about you will teach you about money, right? And if your parents do not teach you about money, they care about you, but there's probably something in terms of their education that they were missing as well. So it kind of has that knock-on effect for a lot of people throughout generations. So if you're part of that, right, you have to get, you just have to get up and get going, right? If you don't do that, you're going to fail.
Charlie, I remember, just after your point, I remember being 20, right? And I would sit at Starbucks every single day, learn about social media, Instagram, YouTube. And I was like, my friends would be like, yo, let's go party, bro. Let's go have fun. I'm like, bro, no, I need to learn shit now because if I don't learn it now, when it comes time to me to use it in the future, I won't know what to do.
Exactly.
So what happened is fast forward now, we have our channel. And those things I learned from back then help me today.
Right.
So,
and the last thing I'll say on this is, because I wrote down a few points. I wrote down sales, self-sovereignty going into the digital age, because we are not in the industrial age anymore. We're going into the digital age, right? This is why social media and stuff is so important. Network consistency. But the most important thing that I didn't mention is sales, right? Okay. Every man should have a sales job at some point in their life. Whether they love it or hate it, doesn't matter. It's good medicine for you, right? So, and the earlier, the better, right? So start selling door-to-door when you're a teenager. Perfect. If you don't have that experience when you're in university, go get some hardcore sales. One of the companies that I worked for about I would say 2 weeks, I was like, yeah, it's just not the right business. It's morally incorrect, which is a company called Cutco Cutlery. Oh, geez. Right? But you fucking
selling knives.
Great product,
man.
Great product.
MLM.
But yeah, it's an MLM. It's a terrible way to run a business in terms of there's there's different lines, right? And it's like one of these things where you want to do business the right way as well. You need to bring real value to people, but by learning those skills and those types of jobs What do you learn? You learn the hustle, which is what like what every company, every human being is doing out here, but nobody likes to call it that, right?
But
Fair enough.
in that environment, though, the people that you meet, the books that you read, helps you cultivate that mindset of being a hustler. So that's really good.
Yep.
Mike, what about you? What do you? When should guys? What are some timelines guys need to have? Money saved up. Women versus money, etc.
So we'll almost play it like a video game. When you're
Please.
a freshman in high school, you're at 0 and 0. So money and women, you don't have game, and
Okay.
you don't really have any money. Now, as you maybe you develop some ability with women as you go through high school, but maybe not a lot of money unless you have a job. The problem that happens, and this is something that I witnessed because after the game came out in 05, I used to work with Mystery. I used to go out with RSD all the time and see these guys who were interns, and all they cared about was women. They were sleeping on couches. All they cared about was women. They sometimes didn't shower. It was just women, women, women. I live here and I meet bartenders who have nothing but debt or male strippers, and these guys are like what you said, very Chad.
Yeah.
And they're extremely good with women, but they're fucking terrible with money. Right. And I have women come on the show all the time because the women here make more money than the men in Vegas because the pool jobs give you like $240 a year.
Talk about it.
And so what happens is you end up with these men who like don't focus on their money at all. They end up spending 7-8 years as a VIP host making less than $60,000 a year. Okay?
Damn.
So that's the thing.
Sheesh.
So now what happens is what you should do is money should get to at least to a level 3. If you want to wait till it's a level 5, let's say 10 is like the top 1% of wage earners with about $500,000 a year. So get up to a 3 or get up to a 5. And then here's the thing: what you don't want is
Can you tell us what those numbers at 3 and 3 is?
3. So I would
Roughly?
say 3 would be having 150,000. That would be
Annual.
Annual. That
Okay.
would be a. But see, the thing is, I don't want to say don't start talking to women before 150.
Okay.
Maybe there's a book called The Happiness Hypothesis. They postulate about $74,000 is where people can be happy. But I think that number with inflation, because that book was written by Jonathan.
Yeah,
maybe
that
10 years
number
ago.
is 10 years ago. So
Yeah,
you're
no,
like
so-
90,000.
Yeah, 90,000. So
90,
that's probably right. There's a fantastic book. Jonathan Haidt's an incredible author. So when you go through those numbers, that's probably, we'll call that a 2. Start at a 2, and then at that point, you need to know something, because what happens is you end up becoming like some of the pilots and the doctors and the real estate developers that end up joining my course, who got married very early, made millions of dollars, and don't know fuck all about women.
Yeah.
And they are getting stomped.
That's also a dangerous place
Correct,
to be.
correct. So what you don't want, so you want money to get to a 3, and then let's go ahead and start bringing girls up to a certain level. But what you don't want is money to get to a 10, and you don't know anything. I have several clients, like, not to be stereotypical, a lot of my Indian clients are like this, very, very wealthy, very successful, and then
The guys Marquette went to school with.
their view. A lot of my German clients are like this. Their views are very, very narrow when it comes to women, and because of that, they're just extremely distrusting, or their views are very binary. And then while it's fine to be super skeptical, you're not good with women when you're super skeptical, right? So there needs to be a growth, like you said, on both places. So I need to be growing in both areas at the same time. But you don't want one to go so far in front of the other that you can't get the other one. Here's the other one. The other point I want to make. We're talking about social media, and we're talking about having a brand. When you have a brand and you are successful on your brand, you need to spend less time attracting women. This is the part. This is the part where the cold approach versus social circle, where they got this wrong. Social circle takes less time than cold approach. When you have a brand and people know who you are, and you're constantly creating a funnel. You guys just interviewed Dan Bilzerian. When you guys are constantly creating,
Talked about this
setup-
extensively.
Exactly. Yeah. Dan Bilzerian spends less time attracting women and gets more women because he used social media to scale. So you use social media to scale your business, and you use social media to scale your ability to attract women. And then also the pre-selection comes in, right? But by the way, pre-selection works both ways. My friend Steve Demopoulos, one of the top attorneys in the city, he's got billboards all over the city.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
You know what I'm talking about. So he's got billboards all over the city, billions collected. So that's pre-selection, but for an attorney. But now you can also have pre-selection for men. How do you show that scalability? Remember what I said before. Social media did not help men meet women. It helped a small group of men meet all the women. So instead of complaining about it, like a lot of incels those guys do, let's join that top 20% of men. And how are we going to do that? We're going to work on our fitness, we're going to work on our money, and we're going to work on our game. All 3 of those things, but we don't want one to get so far where we're a bodybuilder who's broke, and we don't want to become the guy who's incredibly good with women, but we're sleeping on a couch, and we don't want to become the fat, rich guy. We don't want to become any one of those 3 tropes.
Yeah.
We want to be like on Madden. We want a 99 speed, 99 acceleration, 99 awareness, 99 agility, 99 change of direction. We want all these attributes to go up and level up together, and that takes time. For men, we have to earn our value, and sometimes, if you guys read eHarmony's book, or I'm sorry, the book Dataclysm, or the CTO of eHarmony, for women, their primary age is 23 to 25, but for men, it is 38 to 44. That's when we've baked in we've learned all of the lessons that we have, and we have some money saved up. And going back to what you said before, we also have a skill set that we've learned to where if you took all my money away today, I know I could go into high ticket sales, and I know I could teach people how to build sales funnels, and I know I could teach people how to create sales coaching programs. I know those 3 things I could do right now. If you took away all my money and all my clients right now, I know I could do those things, and I could probably do Facebook ads pretty well too. So those skill sets that you learn, and sometimes you have to work for some to do that. Sometimes you actually do have to have a job, and you learn those skill sets. Like agents, where do they start? At William Morris and CAA, they always start in the mail room, right? Sometimes you have to take that beating in the beginning as an internship to learn a skill set. Like again, every one of his guys, I promise you, Justin knows at least the basics on carpentry, electric, laying pipe, all this kind of stuff, all for building those steel buildings.
Pipe too.
Exactly. laying pipe is all of our specialty apparently. And so when it comes to that, you have a specialty, and like Justin says, now you have become useful to other men. So now that I'm useful to other men, that's almost as important as the wealth itself. If you gave me a choice where I have a job where if I work harder, I make more money, or if you give me $10 million, I'm going to take the job where I own it, right? I'm an entrepreneur. I own 100% of this company. And I know if I work harder, I make more money. Sales is a great example of something like this. I would rather have that than $10 million. And most people don't think that way. The $10 million does not come with a skill set. It comes with inflation. But the skill set beats inflation, and it allows you to be able to make money in any environment.
Bam.
And one thing I wanted to add was I find people that basically they focus so much on a dollar amount. Like if I have this, I'm going to be safe or whatever. Like you said, you'll never be safe. But those people are, in my opinion, are just lazy because they think if I get to this place, then I can stop.
Yeah.
Right. And like we're saying here, right? And like Marquette said very nicely, right? It's just something that we should not stop. We have to keep moving.
And you made some really fantastic points that I even want to add to, because you were talking about how when you have this social proof from your business, etc., and the social circle does the work for you, for example, if you have money, right, and you invest that money, it makes you more money, right? You invest in real estate, makes you passive income, etc. When you have girls through pre-selection, guess what? You get more girls, right? I've always said bitches equals more bitches, right? The passive income bitches. And then another thing I want to say is that, and then the other thing I want to say also, that you made a great point where you said you want 99 speed, agility, etc. Well, you basically need a Game Shark in life. And that Game Shark, gentlemen, is consistency, time, and discipline. That's what the Game Shark is. When you get that Game Shark, I'm showing my age here, Game Shark used to be a thing you put in the video game, and it would give you all the codes, and you'd be able to level up your guy. But that's what you need, guys: consistency, time, and discipline. Justin, I'll throw it to you. What do you think guys should be focusing on at age groups?
So the original question was when to let go, right? And to start to give yourself a little room.
What should guys be prioritizing at different parts of their life?
What age?
I agree with what everybody has said, especially about working
Great points, by the way,
on
guys.
everything. Yeah, absolutely. Y'all killed it. One thing that I would add to it is that regardless of the dollar amount you have in the bank, I would not let go and calm down on myself until I had a systematic way to know that money is going to continue coming.
Okay.
So if I made $1 million because somebody died or something like that, I still have no skills. I have no systems in a business. I have no residual income. I own no real estate. I have no return coming whether I work or not. So for me, I would like, at least in a business, create systems where you know that people are waking up and going to work for you every day, and that you are going to make money regardless, because you can trust those systems or the residual income from real estate or something of that nature before I'd really calm down and let go. That's for me what allows me to really.
And that served you very well with an 8-figure business.
It has, and I don't think I'd be able to close my eyes the same way if I didn't have it.
Right, security.
So rain, hail, or shine, fail-proof systems that are there, and also delegating. It looks like you got people underneath you that get the job done.
Yeah, I think probably one of my best skills is understanding how to truly leverage and build a team.
Business.
And, for me, I mean, I'm at over 200 people now. So whether it's across all 3 businesses, doesn't matter.
In multiple states.
Yeah, and then the real estate and the stuff we do online. So for me, man, having systems that I can trust and people I can trust, and building those relationships the right way so you can get walls down and have honest conversations. For me, I trust my people, and with good reason. So for me, that's what
we were traveling around Europe. He was here with us, right next to us. He has a business that makes 8 figures. He can't do that on the fly. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How important is leadership while simultaneously? You got to be a leader, but at the same time, you got to be able to delegate some of that responsibility to your people? Like, how much oversight is needed at that point when you're got that many employees?
Yeah, so I get a daily report every day from each business. So it goes over, the management team, their 5 roles and responsibilities, what they're measured by, what they hit that said day, the money in every bank account, the stats hit, where every foreman is in every state, whether there's an issue or not. It's long. I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
Every credit card spent, the balance sheet, P&L to date. I mean, everything. It's all in there. And so I just hit Siri and she reads it to me while I'm driving, and I listen to all 3 reports daily.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to add, like, it's kind of like you're flying like a jumbo jet to some extent, right? Because you have your checklist.
Yeah, you're
of
looking at the controls.
Right.
You know who's
exactly.
really good about that? And I think low key is probably one of the best guys in business that nobody knows about. Is a guy named Keith Cunningham.
Okay.
And he does a 4-day MBA. He
I know
shows
him.
up to Tony Robbins' deal.
Yeah.
But he's really, really good. He does the Rosetta Stone of finance, where he takes you through this whole exercise. If you spend this much money on inventory, where does it land on the balance sheet? What happens to your AR? Bro, it's really, really, really powerful.
He wrote
Really,
a very good book. I forgot what it's called. But yeah.
Real funny guy. He's from Texas.
Yeah.
You'd love him. You'd fucking love him. He's hilarious.
I'm just impressed you have a real-time accounting system that updates daily to produce a real-time P&L. That's amazing.
We do it every day.
That's
I want to
awesome.
know where everything is
Yeah,
daily.
yeah.
So I know what AR is, everything. I can look right now. He sends it to me 4 o'clock every day.
Bam.
So
That's lit. So I'll hit the chats real quick. So we've been giving y'all a lot of fire, man. Like I said, there's a reason why I've been excited. You guys are getting literally several multimillionaires in one room giving y'all a whole bunch of sauce in different fields and different entrepreneurial ventures. You're not going to get that anywhere else. That's why we're #1 men's podcast in the fucking world. All these haters can go suck a dick. You're not giving y'all this much fucking value. Yeah, I'm going to talk my shit because I got powerful friends and I can say that shit.
And this is way better than school, by the way.
Yeah,
So
real
you know-
talk, man.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's hit these chats, guys.
Yeah.
Welcome to Sticky Paws. Remember to like the video. Come on, what are you guys doing? Okay, we got marriage
Yes.
causes divorce. The first person to super chat today, W Vegas Castle. The other girl married an IT millionaire for 4 months and took 50% in divorce. If you're married, it's not your crypto. It's really hers.
Yeah, these
We got,
girls be.
we got
She don't, know,
Salva.
she don't know about it though.
We got Salvador Dali. We got ladies. Do you feel bringing what is it like? Okay, there's no ladies here. I guess he assumed that there's ladies here. Gentlemen, he amended that. What actions or qualities in a woman can make her stand out from the other women you may be seeing?
Okay, we'll keep going.
All right,
We'll keep
fabulous.
going.
Let's keep it going.
I'll write that down.
got it?
I'm writing that
We
down.
got Carlos saying the idol James Bond, Marquette Davon in the building. Fire, fire, fire. Giving you lessons from the PYEMP. That's what that says. Okay, US dollar $20. Mike Davis, big fan. But the idea the average man makes $40,000 a year is false. Those statistics count everyone like recent immigrants, welfare recipients who don't try, and
Yeah, that
only
is
counts
everyone,
taxed income.
That's
But that is so that's the thing. That's why statistics are called statistics, because they cover everyone.
Yeah, it is
Those
literally
people
average.
are humans. Those people are humans also.
Yeah, I was going to say, immigrants want pussy too, Jack.
Bro, hey,
Come on, Mike.
Hey, have you guys noticed who the richest man in the world is? He's a South African immigrant. His name is Elon Musk. Like seriously, like those people count too.
But trust me, he knew the.
Yeah.
He knew the way.
What else?
Okay, we got Hedron Squid with the $20 super chat. Through Rolo, I found Fresh and Fit, and Aaron through Fresh and Fit. I found Crypto, Cultivate Crypto, DCC, and The Saint. I can't believe you're all here together.
Yeah, you better subscribe to all of them. I put all of their channels at the top of the description. Go subscribe to each of these guys.
Yeah.
Hey, shut up.
We got Marky Faz for a $30.99 super chat. Only been watching you blokes for a few weeks. I rock with it. I'll keep up the killer work, brethren.
Cool.
We got Joel Cole for $10. I had to check to see him. All my favorite YouTubers in one place. You guys are truly a motivation to me. Thank you for all the knowledge you give me daily.
Cool.
You guys want to keep going?
Yeah. So, are there a lot more?
20 and
'Cause,
up.
yeah. From this point forward, guys, we're gonna go because there's 6.5K of you guys watching right now. So we're gonna go. We'll go 50 and up from this point forward. If you guys want to get a question in, go ahead and get a question in. This is one of your few chances to speak to one of the many experts here in many different disciplines.
Live
So,
Q&A.
Yeah. Seriously, man. You got.
I got a $50 super chat here.
right,
This
go
is
ahead.
free. This is Alpha Foxy Otter. Like the damn video, people.
like the
also,
video, guys.
thanks Fresh and Fit for being a great podcast that I can listen to at work while welding and having my head under the hood. You guys,
Absolutely.
and the
go listen to
Kate's-
the other guys here on the panel as well.
Yeah.
Go subscribe to all their channels, guys.
Okay, fantastic. And then he finishes off hashtag free the Tates.
Yes.
Yeah, free Top G.
Absolutely free
Free
the
Tristan
Tates,
Tate as
man.
well.
Absolutely free of taste. They'll be here at the table with us when they're home soon.
All right, that's
And then, because people had sent in some stuff before, do we have? Because I saw some that came in from before. We'll go 50 and up from this point forward, but
Sure,
the people
yeah.
that came in from before.
Oh, you want to keep going with those?
Yeah, we'll read it for like another 30, 40 seconds. Go ahead.
Okay, we got Sosa's Inspires. Peace to the Saints. Y'all need a few rewatches to fully soak in the game.
Peace to the
Marquette
Saints.
dropped.
Yep.
Of course, we got OG Grows for $9.99. We now have the chance to see the world for what it is. Money isn't real, and the only way to win is play the games they do. Shout out to DCC and CC. Join the CMC and take back control. That's the Citadel, I believe.
Yes,
Citadel, yep.
Like Crypto Mindset course.
Crypto
Okay.
Mindset course.
Coming out
Nice.
April 21st, Friday, by the way.
Damn.
We got shout out to the Broke Dynasty fans asking for what an NFT is. PTTS.
Oh God.
Sly Coop saying with the $20 super chat. Myron and Fresh, please look into speaking to Alex Monzi. Graham Steven can connect.
We did an interview with Graham Stephan already. That
And,
will be out soon.
I met him at the Slappy event. He's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Graham Stephan will be out very soon. Anything else?
Yeah, sure. We can keep going. Honestly, these guys keep on giving super chats.
Yeah. Well, if they got good
horrible.
questions, we want good questions.
Well,
guys,
there's no
so-
more questions.
There's no
Okay.
questions? Okay.
Cool.
So, guys, get good questions in. Well, every chat that comes in, obviously, you guys are going to see it on screen. But this is a very, rare opportunity where everyone is here. So, guys, ask some good questions here. All right. So, I'll ask this. What do you guys predict is going to happen? I mean, your prediction as far as the future financially. With the banks going in, with the issues, cryptocurrency going up and down, interest rates just went up on real estate. We could start. Who wants to start first? We can start here?
I'll start.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be kind of more of the same. The only thing new would be the higher interest rate environment, which will have a downward pressure on prices. But if you want to be able to kind of predict an economy, look at the people. The people kind of suck. That's why I'm a misanthrope. You're going to see a slow decay in GDP growth. You're going to see a drop in the labor force participation rate. The unemployment rate actually really doesn't matter all that much. If you want a job, if you want to work, you can do it. There's never been a better opportunity.
Right.
With so few people putting in such little work, you can. I mean, we never had. I remember, like, you'd send out 100 resumes and maybe you get 3 responses back.
Talk about it.
Bro, I
Yeah.
need 10 salespeople right now. Anybody watching? If
Yeah.
you are a high-ticket closer, my guys work part-time, make $150K a year. For
Yeah.
real. If you want to be a fucking closer right now, stop bullshitting.
Right.
Seriously, you are absolutely right.
Right.
I'm having a hard time.
Yeah. So that's a very thick silver lining to this otherwise general economic decay cloud. But yeah, debts are going to go up. We're going to print off more money. Inflation's going to go up. It's just going to be a general malaise and decay into about a second world economy over the decades. Yeah.
Shit. Okay.
So the question is, what is the future economically?
Yeah.
That's the question?
Yeah.
That's very broad, so I'm going to take it
It
in a
is.
couple
It is.
I'm gonna take it in a couple
Yeah.
directions.
We can
All
take it a
right.
step at a time. You could talk about it in the United States. You could talk about how it might affect geopolitically, or how we might be affected geopolitically with the war. I mean, however you want to take it.
As our economist points out, like the capitalist economy is cyclical. There are certain things we expect to happen, interest rates, etc. Undoubtedly, the political cycle as well will impact what's going to happen with markets, right? For example, paper assets are in the toilet right now, which is a good time to buy. You should all be shopping. And if we see that we get a Republican president in, then we're going to recover that value fairly quickly. Who knows how long it'll sustain, but smart people will, once the value's recovered, will sell, and then we'll carry on from there. That's something that's fairly predictable for people who are savvy at all. What's more interesting to me is the big opportunities to make a whole bunch of money, right?
Okay.
So I want to kind of earmark a couple of things. When guys ask me, Marquette, if I'm going to go to school, what do I go to school for? What's really fascinating? Well, cybercrime is fascinating because it's increasing all the time. I'm sure all of you guys, people have tried to scam you. People consider themselves fans of yours, probably tried to scam you.
I can tell you from my professional experience when I was an agent, it was the fastest growing crime with the feds by far.
So cybercrime is an opportunity for criminals, but most people are too stupid to even be criminals of the future.
Yeah.
They're too dumb. It requires skills now to even be a criminal. Now, on the other side of that is cybersecurity. I remember when I was working for the mayor in Baltimore, in the MVA, or excuse me, the DMV, whatever the hell they call it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
There were 4 cybersecurity jobs for every 1 resident.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
There's a growing demand for it, yeah.
And that was a long time ago. Number 2, the future of making money is going to be more technical. It saddens me when young people mostly say, hey, Marquette, I'm a copywriter. The fuck fuck is that? Oh, am I allowed to curse? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you good.
Yeah, but
Yeah, if you don't curse, we actually lose viewers. So more profanity,
Yeah.
please.
certain things are just dumb. I'm a copywriter. Well, it's just dumb. You're not really gonna make money. Or they say, oh, I do marketing. Creating content's not marketing. Running Facebook ads on just a super surface level is not marketing. Understanding the data and being able to identify the right demographics and match things up it gets very technical. If you're not technical, you're not going to make any money in the future. I don't care what business you're in. You could be in the pipeline business, you got to be technical. Number 3, you really need to look into businesses that are outpacing regulation. And the crypto guys know about this kind of thing. When the business is outpacing regulation, that means that there's a major opportunity to make money before the government sinks their teeth in and slows you down.
Okay.
You can either do that in a highly developed economy, which means you're going to be on the bleeding edge of technology, which is improbable, or you can do that in a developing economy. You could do that in South Africa. English speaking, smart population, government's just a little slow. Make tons of money. Pay them $2-3 an hour. It's insane. Great opportunities. So businesses that outpace government regulation. And what industries are those? Fintech, health tech, AI, one note on AI. Everyone's like, oh, AI is going to do this, is going to do that. I think AI and self-driving cars, people don't really understand how it's going to impact markets. That's number one. What I want you guys to know with regards to AI and all these things that might be scary or fascinating to you, what this means for the future economy is that quality and creativity are at a premium because volume is going to come. Kids, I'm going to be a content copywriter. What does that mean? Like you write words? Oh yeah, AI can do that. Right. And you're not even that smart. You're making grammatical errors. You're making grammatical errors. Like where'd you go to?
Grammarly.com.
Right.
Grammarly.
And that's why the AI is going to outperform you, and it's going to do volume, and we can pump out tons of content.
Right.
And now that's why actual creativity to a point of talent and high quality is going to be a premium in the future. So you actually have to really do something well.
And you speak from expertise there because you sold AI software at a high level.
Right.
So, okay.
Right. And then, and that goes into the point of there's no replacement for thinking. Like artificial intelligence was created by man, and all other things that are going to make a ton of money are going to be created by man. And I mean that in the sense of mankind, but man in particular, women are actually not the ones that are usually on the bleeding edge. Just side note. And so, man, I want to encourage you guys to step up.
They do
sometimes.
They do bleed once a month.
Yeah,
right. There you go. There you go.
Fresh had the same thought I did. It is the bleeding edge to some extent.
In terms of tech, what's really interesting to me, particularly with regards to AI, is trust. The trust economy is going to be really important. Like one thing I know we have in common is it's extremely hard to hire people. And then I could tell you have pride in your people who work for you. I can sense that you trust them. You have pride in them. Trust is going to be a scarcity in the future.
Right.
I won't be able to trust you to be on time. I won't be able to trust you to do good work. I won't be able to trust you to tell me your real name. I won't be able to trust you to do remote work and you say you're an American, but you're really in Lagos or you're in Islamabad. Like trust is going to be so important in the future. And if you can create good technology around building trust, you're going to be very valuable. And if you can create verification, measures, you're going to be very valuable. I think that's the whole world in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yo, that was
Good.
very good point, brother.
Hey, great.
Spitting fire.
Yeah, no,
the
man.
saint and the sinner.
Yeah, that's why I love bringing people in from different disciplines that know things that I don't.
It's time to spill some water on this.
Miguel, what do you what do you predict is going to happen with the markets financially and or professionally?
We've got some crazy stuff coming up. I mean, by 2025, 2026, we are going to start having the American rollout of the central bank digital currency of the United States.
Okay.
So we are going to have a digital dollar. The dollar is already pretty much digital, but we are going to start getting a
blockchain dollar.
The blockchain dollar, right? Yeah. So we are actually going to have a Fed dollar. The Federal Reserve, what they are doing right now is they're crushing small to medium-sized banks, community banks and stuff, and essentially concentrating power within the larger banks. And over time, they'll even rug the big banks as well. What the central bank wants is for you to just use them as the bank. Like you are going to be having an app that'll directly just link up to the Federal Reserve. That is it. Now, I always say that we're sort of in a Cold War right now, where there's China and America's China light.
Yep.
We won't ever go to the crazy level that China will, because we are trying to be competitive against them. So we will always be slightly better, but we're heading towards what China's already doing as well, which is the next crisis that we end up having, there will be like $1,200 like stimulus checks, and you basically can do this. You have 3 weeks you want your $1,200 bucks, you have to wait 3 weeks, it'll come in the mail. Or you sign up on the mobile app and you get it right away.
Right away.
Gotcha,
and every dumb Maria in the world will sign up
Maria.
Dinero aquí.
yeah, quiero dinero aquí. Telemundo, right? But well, they'll sign up they'll sign up right away to get that money. And at first, it's going to be you can do anything you want, buy anything you want, and then they'll start putting little regulations. Oh, you can't buy this, you can't buy that. It's only for this. Eventually, you can only they'll wick it to the point where you can only spend it on this much. And what scares me the most about this is that they'll put a time limit. They've done this on China already during the Winter Olympics. They gave people like something equivalent to like $400, and they had that weekend to spend it, or it would disappear. So, so this is why we're trying so hard to onboard people into crypto, because they can't rug that, they can't control that, because we can send money anywhere we want. Now it's up to you. Whatever you guys want to do with your money, that's whatever. I don't care about that. But what I care about is you guys having the freedom of money, freedom of movement of your capital, of your savings. Because what I'm afraid of is that they're going to steal our ability to save. And if we can't save money, that means we can't save our energy for something. Then we're slaves. I know I'm being a little bit I'm not trying to freak everyone out though. But it's just, the thing is, it also on the good side, like you're talking about technology, right? The people that are in the crypto space, you onboard a bunch of people into using a central bank digital currency. Magically, they know how to use a crypto now, and it onboards a ton of capital. So what's going to happen is we are going to have the tokenization of everything, tokenized equities, tokenized. I mean everything. We're going to have fractionalized real estate in like many pieces. Like you have 100,000, like $1 million property, and it'll be split up into 1,000 pieces, and it's $1,000 per share, and it pays you a small dividend in the USDC coin and stuff. So yeah.
Charlie?
I'll take a step further just to
go
your
ahead.
point. So imagine, right, there's no more cash at all. And now
Yes.
they're giving you
Please no.
digital money,
Please no.
which means they have control over you. Let's say, for example, you get $1,200, right? And you talk about geopolitics. And I'm the government. I don't like that. So you know what? No money in your account now. Zero.
Criticizing Biden
Exactly.
and his policy with
Anything
Ukraine.
that's against their agenda or their belief, you know what? Get them out of here. $0. What do? You're fucked.
Yep.
So that's control, man. Good point.
Yeah, 110%. So, I mean, just the last two guys here, everything you said was like massively important, right? And so what?
Yeah, not him.
Well, no. No, because here's where I'm going with this. I love it, Fresh. But here's where I'm going with this, right? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the digital age, right? What these guys are talking about is the digital age. So you want to look to the future as much as you look to the past, right? And when you're looking to the past, right, the one thing that is constant is humans. Humans have not changed in thousands of years, right? We all do the same shit, just different patterns, right? So if you understand those patterns when it comes to finance, how that doesn't change over time, just the market changes over time, like you guys have been saying, you'll always have the ability to understand the market to some level, right? And operate with that. So I would say there's 3 books that I would recommend for everybody. Okay. The first book is for people who are coming into money, doing some sales, and want to basically build a nest egg, right? So that's The Millionaire Next Door. If you are fucking up with your money, that book will tell you if you're fucking up with your
Or
money.
fucking up with your children's money. How to not
That
leave your
too.
children a money. Yeah, that's a great book. It's one of the best books I've ever read. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that book right there, if you read it, that's a financial education right there. Okay. Then in terms of the future, right? You want to know what's coming around the corner with central bank digital currencies and everything? Go to read The Sovereign Individual.
Right.
It was written in 1997. It talks about Bitcoin in chapter 7, and everything about that is pretty much
The book was written in 1997, and they talked about Bitcoin back then?
12 years basically before it ever existed.
They described it basically.
Basically they said
Okay, something similar to it.
currency will become digital, and it will have a public and private key, which is the encrypted version of what Bitcoin did. That's the core of what Bitcoin is. It's the core of what the central bank digital currency is doing. So if you can understand that book, how it looks from going to the industrial age to the digital age, everything these two guys just said, that's where I was going with that, was essentially you can see the future somewhat, right? And you can start planning for the digital age, because none of us have been taught how to operate in the digital age. We've all been taught how to operate in industrial society.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the last book that I'd recommend is Reminiscences of Stock Operator. That goes to the past. Basically, Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, what that basically tells you is how humans act in a financial market, right? the technology is the only thing that's changed over the last 100 years, and that book was basically about 100 years ago. So they're talking about ticker tape shit. It's really fucking
early
boring.
1920s, yeah. It's
Yeah.
really great. They asked, where are all the clients' yachts?
Yeah.
You remember? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
remember that
really, really boring, right? But it's like massively important because if you understand how humans operate with money and how that hasn't changed
Yeah.
from the fucking Romans to 100 years ago with what this book is talking about, then you can understand how people will act in the future, and that it all happens in cycles, right? And so cycles of political cycles, cycles of financial cycles, cycles of like the universe has cycles, right? Everything is a cycle. And then if you can really understand that, going back to your God point, right, then you can understand where money fits in the universe. And if you can really understand that, then you can make as much of it as you want, because money is relatively infinite. It's
It's energy.
yeah,
Powerful.
Especially in this administration.
Mike, what do
bars,
you predict
Charlie.
is going to happen with the financial markets in the future? You can involve whatever you want, factors, whether it's geopolitics or the economy. whatever.
Dating even.
There we go.
Yeah.
I was taught, again, by Tom Sosnoff. The guy's a billionaire. He sold 3 of his brokerages so far. To be a contrarian. And one of the things that happened was when Biden got elected, and I'm not a supporter of Biden, but I just heard everyone say that there was going to be this massive fucking recession and the whole world was over. And I just remember being like, there's too many people on YouTube saying there's going to be a recession. There's just too many, and too many of these people are just like have blue check marks and have no fucking, you know what I'm saying? I love Alex Hormozy, but when Alex Hormozy is telling me that there's going to be a recession, I'm like, wait a second, I'm not really sure if he's the right person for me to listen to. I agree with you. Again, I have tons of respect for him. But $100 million, one of the best books I ever read. You said before labor participation would go down, but GDP will go down. I don't know about the second part. I agree with you on the first part.
I'm sorry, the GDP growth rate will go
Growth
down.
rate, okay,
It
yeah.
will not contract. It will. The rate of economic growth will continue to slow.
Because what I think will happen is productivity will be narrowed to a small group of people that have technological advances that others don't.
Yep.
In a couple years, we're talking about AI, but in 50 years, we're talking about literally our amygdala replaced by a microchip. Like we get to that point where we actually bifurcate the species, like what Ray Kurzweil talks about. I think that's where we're going to see in the future. I'm way more of an optimist than a lot of people. The most liquid capital markets on the planet are in the United States of America. Like, I think the GDP here is $24 trillion, and the entire planet is $80 trillion, something like that. 70, something.
At 90 depends on what source, but yeah,
You
we're,
like actually
we're the
have an
largest
economist
pay-
here?
I mean, but like the thing is,
Like,
we
well,
have
actually-
5% of the planet's population and a quarter of the world's GDP, and part of the reason why is not because of the way our people work, but it's because of the fact that liquid markets are here. Again, I grew up with some traders, so that's why I believe this way. So I think I actually have a very positive outlook here, but not for everyone. I have a positive outlook for a certain group of people. If you go back 20 years and look at Cisco Systems and General Electric, these two companies were the biggest companies in the country, and they got disrupted by companies like Meta and companies like Tesla and stuff like that. What I think is you're going to have this group of extremely high producers, extremely productive people, but new disruptors are going to come into the space. And as negative as we may think about the way things are now, we still live in a country that is free enough to allow cryptocurrency to flourish and for us to talk about it. We still live in a country that is free enough right now for us to have artificial intelligence, or technically it's machine learning, and for us to allow that to thrive. And so because of that, I truly think that if you choose to be part of what I consider the decision-making class, and the reason why I call them the decision-making class, we're the people who read books. The people who read are the ones who are the decision-making class. Those of us who do that, we will be the disruptors. We will be the ones who will lead us into a new era, but that new era might not be coal mining. That new era might not be digging ditches or laying railroad. Do you understand what I'm saying? That new era might be something else. And so those of us who continue to stay educated on that, I think it's kind of easier to get into that place now. And if you do, I think you can make a lot of money. I just think the economy will look different. I don't think it'll be necessarily worse. Morally, maybe. But I still think because the capital markets in this nation, whether it is commodities, whether it is fixed income, whether it is equities, or whether it is crypto, is still the United States of America, is still by far, and there's not even anybody even close. And the second thing, I know I brought this up before, and obviously I'm biased, but the U.S. military, we can take on every other country at the same time, all at once, and we can handle all of them. We are so far and away beyond every other country on the planet that is also a secure reason why, even though we complain about the dollar going up and down or whatever, there is one thing that legitimately backs the dollar, and that is a $1.2 billion B-2 from Namnasser, Missouri, that will nuke any other fucking country on the planet with stealth capability. So that is the thing that makes this whole situation a little different. So I'm not quite as negative as other people are. I think if you look for opportunity and you're willing to work and you're willing to find subject matter expertise, I think in this future economy you can make a lot of money.
With your military background, do you think war with Russia is possible?
I don't think so. I've gotten a lot of trouble for this. Being a former, and I have to be careful because I used to work in Intel. I think Russia is even worse off than you think Russia is. And what I mean by that is they have the ability to pivot from being a petrostate. Canada was a petrostate and figured out other ways to make money. Russia did not. Russia made fucking MiGs, Kalashnikovs, caviar, vodka, and fucking got oil, and they didn't do anything else. And instead of like becoming this incredible place, I mean, they have a beautiful population and incredible land. What happened instead is they became this very contracted nation where the power vacuums from communism were filled with corruption. I've said this before, I have a background in physics. I don't think they have the money to maintain ICBMs. I really legitimately, the amount of hydrogen that you have to keep below 270 degrees Celsius is so expensive, and the fissile material you have to maintain, I legitimately think they don't have fucking anything going for them. And this is something like Andrew and I briefly discussed, and we disagree on this. I think the fact, when you guys beat Alabama, right, that is... To me, Russia should be able to take Kiev, and we took Baghdad in 3 weeks with almost no losses, and Russia can't take Kiev. Bro, I think it's even worse than they're even pointing out. I think Russia is extreme. I think Russia is so intimidated with their place in the world, they had to invade Ukraine. I think that's part of what happened.
Do you think, to play devil's advocate, do you think the fact that they didn't take Kiev so quickly is because they didn't just want to airstrike them like we did with Iraq, and they wanted to take Kiev intact?
Well, so when we bombed Iraq, we left the infrastructure in place for the most part. Well, we took out every part of their military structure. Baghdad was still a livable city. We bombed them
for like a month.
Yeah, but Baghdad was still a livable city afterward. It wasn't like what happened in Beirut or what happened in Bosnia before that. We had very, very well-guided bombs. The Russians, here's one of the things. Who owns the global positioning system? We do. Yeah. In order to have these laser-guided bombs, you either need like an EA-6B Prowler up there pointing a laser, or you need global positioning system, to which they have none. We jammed all the frequencies. We gave the fucking Ukrainians massive amounts of drones. They had tons of intel. Like, there's so many things that were going on here where we didn't have to put any troops on the ground, but we gave them such a technological advantage. And if this is the case, we're at a stalemate now at 13 months or 14 months, I think that we're at right now. The Russians should not have taken this on. And I really think it was a massive mistake on their part. Here's the worst part. I've talked to people in Germany, and their gas prices are going back down because now they're buying oil from South America. Do you know how fucked Russia is if that actually starts happening? If they're actually able to do that? Like, Russia invaded another country, and Germany's going to find... Because we've been telling Germany for years... Even Donald Trump said this. You guys need to start buying petroleum from some other country besides Russia, because Russia needs to play ball like everywhere else. Right. And so that's what happens. Like, when you deal with Saudi Arabia, or you deal with Venezuela, or you deal with Russia, and they do things you don't like, you have to be able to economically punish them somehow. Yeah. Germany was buying over the 50% or 40% of their total petroleum, and all of
totally reliant
on what was going on with Russia. Now, to Russia's credit or whatever you want to say, because their pipeline was going through Ukraine, and Ukraine was charging them like $2-3 billion in order to transport petroleum through there. And then Ukraine figures out that in Crimea, they have, I believe, the 20th largest oil reserve on the planet. Once they realized, hey, Shell, hey, Texaco, come on in here and get the shale oil from us. Now, not only would Ukraine be like charging tariffs for the Russians to ship their oil into Germany, they'd also be selling their own oil. And so this became a situation where, if I'm a petrostate, I have no choice. I have to invade Ukraine at this point. And that's essentially what happened. And then lastly, if Ukraine ends up putting UN F-35s and air bases there, the Russians don't have stealth aircraft, and all of a sudden the EU does. It creates this incredibly asymmetrical imbalance in this place. So I understand why Russia did what they did, but they had the opportunity over the last 20 years to not be a petrostate, to put themselves in this position. Yeah, so as far as that, I don't think the United States would ever. China, yes, possibly, because China actually finally has a blue water navy. China does not have stealth capability. The Indian Air Force was able to spot Chinese stealth aircraft at 500 miles. They're so far behind us when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I don't think China and Russia, but it's going to be some sort of asymmetrical type of warfare, like essentially Reddit posts and fucking Facebook groups telling us that birds aren't real and the earth is flat. Like, I honestly think that is the warfare that we're dealing with right now. People promoting astrology and shit like that. Like, dude, the war against the United States is the 5 love languages. It's the war against the United States is the secret and fucking trauma release programs. That's the United States.
TikTok as well.
TikTok as well. Exactly. Yeah. TikTok is better than a B1. That you're absolutely right.
Because you know what's funny? You're killing them not with weapons, but you're killing them from the inside mentally.
Yeah, I mean,
once you do that,
Demoralization.
The problem is when you guys ask on the questions. When you guys ask on the questions about can you name 3 countries, it's indicative of women not knowing 3 countries, but it's indicative of a lot more. In the 1950s, I guarantee you, women knew 3 countries. Because why? Because back then, when Sputnik goes over the United States in 1957, at that point, the whole country is tilted towards one thing. Having a strong military, by the way, that's why we have freeways. The Eisenhower administration put those freeways out there so that we can move nukes around the country. Right. And we had a space program so that we could get to the moon before the Russians did. And so we don't have that thing burning our ass anymore. We don't have that motivation anymore. And we've got fat, dumb, and lazy. And now the people we look up to are not mathematicians anymore. We don't look up to physicists anymore. Can you imagine someone as famous as Albert Einstein when he died in the 1950s? We have no physicists that famous now today. Neil deGrasse Tyson is not a researcher. He is a fucking entertainer. And, it's just one of these things where we've completely changed
We're being outperformed by the Chinese in education as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, I would read the One World Schoolhouse by Sal Khan, where he talks about that. It's like we need, because of teachers' unions, we cannot bust up this Prussian model of education. You talk about the Prussian model of education.
I talk a lot about teachers and how much I hate them.
We cannot bust apart this Prussian model of education so that if my son is smart enough to be in trigonometry when he's 12, but he's failing at English, we hold him in the 5th grade, we don't let him out. And we should be able, if he becomes an excellent person and learns, business calculus when the guy is, when he's 10 years old, let him do that.
He shouldn't be held back by fresh at all. I understand.
That's exactly right.
Hey.
That's exactly right. These other countries are running circles around us as far as education.
I want to say this real quick. What would you say to the people that say, well, Russia got what they wanted? They control eastern Ukraine. That's what they wanted in the first place. They wanted to make sure that the Donbass was handled and Crimea.
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
Well, I mean, that's a possible thing that they did. I mean, do you guys know how the Donbass ended up there in the first place?
No.
Because Stalin starved out a bunch of native Ukrainians and then replaced them with Russians. Yeah. Again, that whole part of it, we can't understand, guys. We're from the United States. It's Louisiana and Texas. We don't understand. We have the SEC and play football with each other. We don't.
They have a very intimate relationship that we can only fathom.
Guys, Ukraine has been part of Russia on and off since the 9th century. It is really, really dirty and nasty. Yes, very toxic relationship. The thing is, for me, I just feel like, to me, it shouldn't have taken a year. If they were the military that they purported to be, which is either second or third next to China and the United States, they should have been able to take Ukraine. Because I guarantee you, the United States would have taken Ukraine in 10 days, and we wouldn't have bombed. We would have killed some civilians.
So you're saying it was a materials issue, not a strategy issue?
I think it was both. It was a strategy issue in that what happened was when Russia invaded Crimea, he had a 74% approval rating. And because the way it feels like, it's like, if Louisiana wanted to secede from the United States, there's something very American about Louisiana. That wouldn't feel right. But if all of a sudden somebody said the American Virgin Islands all of a sudden wanted to secede, we'd be like, wait, is that ours? Is Guam all of a sudden wants to become an independent nation? Wait, Guam belongs to us? Does that make sense? So it's one of these things where Crimea really did feel like it was part of Russia. Russians wanted Crimea back. Does that make sense? But what happened was Ukraine, when he goes and invades there, he's like a 15% approval rate. Because you have to understand with Putin. Putin is an old school, like Tom Clancy era KGB guy.
But Putin was it the strategy? Was it material? Like, put it this way: if he had superior strategy and approach, could he have gotten the job done more effectively?
I think he would have used diplomacy instead and given them a reason, given them some other reason.
You think diplomacy could have worked in that situation?
Here's the reason why: because it worked for the last 50 years. Because they had figured out a way to control their government, like exactly what they're doing in Belarus right now. And they're not going to war with Belarus. Belarus is a puppet. They do exactly what the Russians want. So the thing is, with Ukraine, what happened was they got pretty free and they were incentivized. And Germany's like, hey, come over here and date us. And Russia's like, fuck no, if you're not going to date me, you're not going to date anybody. And so that's essentially what happened. Materialistically, I just don't think people understand the drop-off between American hardware and Russian hardware. They think
they do not understand.
Because in the 1980s, dude, those MiGs could do incredible things. They could fly 2 times the speed of sound. But when we got to stealth technology and when we started taking over as far as drone manufacturing, as far as global positioning system, they can't keep up with us. You understand? If we just have, they're called M1s, these M1 Eagles. The Army has them. They just throw them up in the air. They fly around and they can just get the entire battle space. And the United States has got probably I don't know this to be a fact. I almost guarantee you, though, there's EA-6B Prowlers and RC-130s that are flying over Ukraine right now, and the Russians can't see them, and all of a sudden their radios don't work anymore. All of a sudden they don't know shit. All of a sudden none of their communication are secure. The United States is not going to help the Ukrainians specifically, but they're going to give them a lot of aid, and so is the European Union. And I'm telling you right now, as soon as they're Putin's biggest fear is if they put F-35s in Germany, because if they do that, man, it is a problem. When you have stealth aircraft, I don't think you understand the asymmetry here. You have no chance against them. Whenever we do a red flag here, once the last day of red flag, they bring out the F-22s, and you are fucked. Everyone is fucked. You are dead, and nobody even sees who shot you. Right. That's it's beyond line of sight. And that's what happens because F-22s have no rate. Well, they have a radar signature of like a fucking
American right now.
It's something, small.
It's something incredible, like the size of a bumblebee.
You know what I think the actual real war is that we're even scared to talk about? It's how you have the Chinese presence in Congo and various places that we don't have.
It's so crazy that we don't even ever talk about it. And it goes back to what the United States.
It's like a BRICS thing.
The string of pearls, right?
Here in the United States.
Again. So a Chinese presence in the Congo, and just so the audience can hear it.
Well, in the Congo, and getting critical natural resources that are necessary for technology, major components, batteries,
and fissile material.
Yeah, they've been building roads in Africa forever.
Yeah. Well, Africa has some of the best natural resources in the world.
Yeah.
And it's always been the case, and there have been many scrambles for Africa. But the concerning thing is, in addition to that, you also have the Chinese doing predatory lending, and then they take the port of the country, or they take the rail system, which is critical. But what we really have to understand is that, like, different than, say, European colonialism, the Chinese, with their huge population, they're actually executing on German Lebensraum, and they're sending their people there, which is when you're in South Africa, when you're in Zambia, you see things written in Mandarin, and they're doing all the construction in Ethiopia, and they're becoming police officers in those nations. Like it's outrageous.
Importing Chinese.
Is it not true that they're trying to pay them in yen and they don't want it?
Yes, they're forcing them to use the yen. I mean,
So that much currency.
So what's happening, like what you said, is because in the United States we don't care about Central Africa. We don't even know, like these girls who don't know, they don't know anything where Congo is. They don't know Kenya is. They don't know where Eritrea
we saw. We noticed.
We
noticed.
We saw that.
Or now I want to know something else scary. They're all over the Caribbean. Chinese.
Yo, they're in Barbados, bro.
They're in Jamaica.
Bro, when I was
there's a bunch of them in the Bahamas.
Dude, when I was a kid, I used to be like, who is that? He looks Asian. I'm like, why are you here? But this family's, this business is being
and they're
grown.
fluent in whatever the language is. They're fluent in it.
And they got an embassy there too.
And we should have been concerned about the Chinese for a long time for a couple of reasons. Number one, at the end of World War II, the Chinese could hold hands and wrap around the planet Earth 2.5 times. So from a population perspective, they're a threat only because we have laws in war, right?
We have not for long.
Not for long.
Yeah.
They skipped a generation. And they're going to be down, way down, like 600,000 down.
Yeah, like they're going to be like, I think they're $1 billion, and they're pretty much.
So what he's talking about is one child policy. There's no women there anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, by 2050, they should be at 400 million.
Yeah, but
all the same, they have more honor students than we have students.
For sure. Yeah. There's more people who speak English in China than there is in the United States.
I've heard that, but I've been to China a ton, been through a ton of cities, and no one speaks English. For the record, I've been there a ton of times. No one speaks English.
I feel like they cap on their numbers.
Oh my, bruh, they are lying.
Yeah, they be capping.
Even in Japan.
So let that be known, number one. Yeah. But the thing is, with all of our conventions and how you can wage modern warfare, actually having people to go and die in the war is a critical aspect, and that's one of the things that Ukraine's hurting for.
Yeah, that's what Russia's doing right now, battle of attrition at this point.
Both of them, right? And they're sending in mercenaries. Well, China's not going to need any mercenaries. You know, they're not going to need any mercenaries.
People.
I just want to thank you guys for elevating the IQ of this conversation. I'm so glad to talk with you guys versus bimbos. Ah, man. All right, sorry, continue on.
And even the Russians,
this is awesome
who I agree are background. I mean, Putin's a smart fellow, but I think as a statesman, he's not as scary as American propaganda has portrayed him to be, and he's not as effective.
Think where he came from. He was from old KGB, bro. He has been in rooms with guys tied up by fucking wire and having their nipples electrocuted. He's been in those rooms, dude. He's knocked people's teeth out. He is old school KGB, bro. He was, I believe he's old enough. He was part of I don't know if he was old enough for this, but the war with Afghanistan in '83. I don't know if he was. I think he was like a lieutenant back then. I could be wrong on the timeline.
That's why we know he's not going to quit.
But the thing is, growing up that way, and like again, you get used to that type of ideal where this is how we win. We win by taking land from Mother Russia.
Right.
And one of the things is he doesn't understand because in his country they don't have freedom of press like we do. So the rest of the world looks at him like, dude, why are you fucking Why are you?
I don't know if I'd say we have freedom of press.
Right, but what I'm saying is we have stories on both sides. We have more data.
Yeah.
We have a faster bandwidth than they do. As far as if you want to speak out
think-
against Putin there, you end up falling out of a fucking hotel room. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't exactly happen here.
Right. That's correct. I think that the Americans have always been. So, for example, the Germans had the best in propaganda. The Russian propaganda was always a bit crude, and I think that
We're
the
talking about
Americans.
World War II?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that the Americans have kind of taken after that model, and that our ability to make you think a certain way without you feeling threatened is extraordinary. And in fact, the American left and right is actually much closer than we
I
realize.
totally agree with that. I've been saying that forever. Yes.
Especially with regards to warfare. Like
Yeah.
they always seem to be on the same page with war
Yeah.
until the aftermath. But like even the Russians were smart enough. I think they're in Central African Republic, which is actually a real name of a country, which
Yeah.
is strange. But the Americans, what really pisses me off is that, we might have 200 plus military installations around the world, but we've not sent any engineers anywhere. We've not sent population. We're not properly strategically using a AmeriCorps or a Peace Corps. We only use it to send out intelligence officers. Like, we're not having the effect where the world actually respects us as the world's police and moral authority.
Sure.
And we're a declining power, and it's because of the culture you spoke of earlier. And I think there's a number of reasons that American culture has been subverted. And I think it's been a mix of all those ugly elements that existed from that Cold War era that came from the Russians and the Chinese.
Yeah, yeah. We're still fighting that war when there are other ways. And all of a sudden, there's a 20-year-old kid who's like confusing our children, and we're still trying to build bigger bombs. And to your point, AFRICOM is in Germany. The African Command for the U.S. military is in Germany. It's not even Africa. CENTCOM is actually in Florida too. Yeah.
And when I'm traveling sub-Saharan Africa, there's mostly no Americans. There's Europeans, which I mean at some level makes sense. I mean they're the ones who colonized them, but we're just completely absent. Even the American upper class that can afford to do this stuff, they're absent. They don't even have a real concept of what an American
Most Americans
is
don't even have passports.
beyond Kim Kardashian. That's how they know us. They understand us through Kim Kardashian and these kinds of personalities.
She's our
To your
role model.
point,
But to your point, that was our warfare on them. They started watching Red Dawn. They started watching Predator. They started watching Commando. The rest of the world started watching, Back to the Future. The rest of the world started watching our media, and like now they're just doing it to us.
Yep.
You understand? With TikTok, they're doing the same thing to us.
That was actually deep. Damn.
Yeah, we for the longest time, media
Got
was
him.
American media. Magazines were Playboy was American Playboy, and that's people wanted our celebrities were celebrities. You know what I'm saying? The look how many celebrities that we have that are from Canada or Australia, but they're famous because they live in Los Angeles, and so that's essentially right. And I think what's happening is they're doing it back to us now.
Yeah.
TikTok is just so pervasive. It is fucking unbelievable,
Dude,
how people.
Shout out to the NyQuil challenge.
You guys heard what the CEO said? He says my kids can't watch TikTok until they get a bit older.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then go ahead.
Have you guys ever looked at the TikTok user agreement?
No.
They literally, Joe Rogan talked about this, and it was fucking shocking. Basically, like, any device that you log in from, they can collect information from that device.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any device that you log in from into your account. So they basically get free reign to collect information from all of your devices, to sell you advertising, to go ahead and collect all the info, and it's just like ridiculous. But hey, it is what it is, and that's and it's all in small writing. But it's amazing the amount of invasion that TikTok has.
That's
man.
why.
I mean,
that's why we
fucking
don't use it in crypto at all.
Yeah.
I make sure that every student of ours does not download TikTok at all on any mobile device, computer, or anything, just because it's that dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless or not, we were still getting spied on by American companies. Let's be for real.
Yeah, let's be
But
for real.
but I mean, like shit,
for
man.
real
Yeah,
here.
guys, I wave the American flag over here.
Speaking as a former counterintelligence officer, maybe I will tell you that you are giving this information away for free, and we're not having to really spy on you. You just fucking give it up all the time
Right.
when you agree to the fucking
There we go.
cookies and you download this app and you all the information.
social media, they're all you basically give it away. When
But
you for
I used to
social
give briefings, and it was guys on their Facebook page like going to deploy for 6 months. I'm like, your wife's going to cheat on you, and your house is getting robbed, bro.
Wow.
Stop writing this shit on your Facebook. And they were like literally in overseas over Iraq showing tail flashes of aircraft that was on the runway. I was like, dude, you're telling them not only how many aircraft we have there, you're giving them the fucking tail flash. Like, I even know what unit you're from. I was having briefings with like, guys, you cannot post this on Facebook. How do you not know this? But yeah, it was like this. I got news for you guys. It's not as hard as you think. We don't need spies anymore. You guys are snitching on yourselves constantly already on platforms that you don't own, your own data, and people are taking shit from you, and it isn't even illegal what they're doing at this point. It's completely legal. You can find out so much stuff about people, so you don't realize how much. The term is called, in the military, it's called signature management. You have no idea how big your signature is already.
Yeah. So Justin, I know that's a lot to follow up on, man. I'm sorry. What's your prediction on the future of the financial markets?
so-
It could be geopolitical, etc. Because geopolitics do affect money significantly.
Absolutely. So let's start off with what Michael was saying. I completely agree with that. Like World War II ended. We went and did Bretton Woods Agreement, right? Nixon was like, "Fuck y'all. We have the biggest dick. We still have the biggest dick. So America's the GOAT, whether we're bullies or not." It, I guess, could be talked about. I do think America's a bully, but I also think in a lot of ways America's bullying Americans. They're bullying everybody else, and I don't see anybody stopping that. So I think the only thing to talk about outside is whether we deglobalize or not. Have you read the book, The End of the World is Just the Beginning? I think it's
Peter Zion.
Peter
Yeah.
Zion.
Zion. Yeah.
Bro. Like, so I think it was after the Cold War, maybe.
Right.
What's the name of that
Yeah.
book?
End of the World
End of
is
the
just the
world,
beginning.
just beginning.
Peter Zion. He has like a whole bunch of books
And
on.
he's
like,
talking about deglobalization, and fortunately for America, I feel like from a geographical position and farmland and our ability for oil and the military and how hard it would be to attack America, America's in a really, really, really good position. Right. A bunch of people got pissed at me the other day because I said America's the GOAT on Twitter, and whether you like America or not, fuck you. They're still the GOAT. We are still the GOAT. We have the biggest stick. We really run the world in every way.
Yeah.
And we have the best geological advantage. And I'll tell you who doesn't, China. And I'll tell you who's in trouble, China. They got empty buildings everywhere.
Yeah.
And we would fuck them and Russia up at the same time with our hands tied behind our back. So for me, unless it's like BRICS, which...
they're trash anyway.
They're still trash because we still have the whole EU.
Can you tell the audience what BRICS is? Because they might not know.
Yeah.
What that acronym is.
Brazil, India.
Russia,
It's
India,
the
and
currency
China.
that they're trying to
South
create.
Africa. South Africa, which is trash.
Yeah, they're fake ass NWO. They'll get their ass whooped. Like, come on.
It's like a petroleum cartel based for
and Mexico's joining it too as well.
Yeah, so I think
It's an attempt at another reserve currency to try to take the U.S.
it's
dollar
be based
out.
off petroleum because all those are
They're all. They're basically it's mostly petroleum, but it is they're trading commodities and stuff back and forth and stuff like They're trying to get the Australians to join, but they couldn't.
I got a
pull it
question
off.
for the panel after this. Please.
I just want to
continue,
go
Justin.
back to what you said, which was you think that long-term and short-term debt cycles are going to continue happening. I absolutely agree with that. I think the only question is it going to be in fiat or or is it going to be some kind of crypto?
Yes.
Yeah. And that I think that's the only thing that's really going to change.
Yo, let's talk about the real elephant in the room here is like the birth rate around the world and stuff. Like not enough people are like all America's enemies aren't really having kids anymore.
Okay, so now here's the thing. Indonesia and Mexico don't have a problem.
Yeah,
with
no,
the
they
birth
don't
rate.
have for the next 50 years. Or,
Right.
yeah.
So as far as the birth rate, like if the consideration is for the species of Homo sapiens, we're good. There's 8 billion of us, and there's 400,000 fucking elephants. That's a problem that we won, right? 90% of the large and land animals on this planet are domesticated pigs, horses, and chickens, and cows. So when you consider that now from an individual standpoint, what the problem is Professor Clary has to say here is that smart people don't fuck enough and they don't have enough children. That is the best way to put it.
Idiocracy.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And people who don't have the means with which to have children are having lots of fucking children.
All the single mothers.
Granted, not even that. Indonesia, just the whole country of Indonesia, they're good at one thing: fucking and having children. And stealing your shit and offering you fake blue check marks on Instagram and making fucking fake Instagram accounts. Those are the only things they're good at. Sorry, my friends are in Indonesia. But yeah, that's one of the issues that's going on. But to your point, real quick, the United States is the longest standing government in history, right? Well, since 1776, every other government, including the Brits, including the Chinese, every other government has fallen and been replaced. Ours is the only one that is still there. But we still fucked up. We fucked up in Tuskegee. Okay, we fucked up with MK Ultra. We fucked up in several different instances. We had Westmoreland lying about body counts in Vietnam. We did a lot of really bad shit. We had an Iran-Contra affair.
Right.
We still use property taxes in
You're
order to
gonna
play
need 2 more days to finish this list.
Yeah,
That was my whole bully point.
we still use
my bully point.
But
still
doesn't
use
the bully take the lunch money? That's what
It does.
Like
Yeah.
that's what the Trump
does.
in me is like. The bully got to take the lunch money. It's
And
like
he
we're
runs the
bullying, but
schoolyard,
we're
bro.
not getting the lunch money.
Yeah.
Do you understand? You hear what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
But the reason why is because
I like that analogy.
Because once Sputnik goes off, if you ever talk to your parents or grandparents about the day Sputnik went over, when they started the first satellite over that was a Russian satellite, wasn't the United States. Once that first satellite went over and they could hear that beeping noise, everybody's booty holes got tight. And we all of a sudden became very close to the survival scenario again, right? And gender roles were not confused at that point.
I'm really glad you said that,
Yeah.
because one thing I left out is that cycles are going to keep doing what they're doing.
Right.
But then one thing that I think is different is I think that rich people are going to have farms. I really believe that.
Oh.
They're going to have land and farms.
Okay.
Because when they start telling you how
Gates,
much
Bill
fucking
Gates.
steak you
Yep.
can eat,
Yeah.
rich people are like, fuck you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Land and farms. Let me
Okay.
get out of this bullshit. Let me get away from these fucking retards.
Yep.
Not living in Chicago, not living in Miami anymore.
Yep.
I can't send my kids to school.
Yep.
Right.
So they're either going to do shit like move to Dubai, or they're going to buy farmland in the middle of Kentucky or South America or somewhere.
Most fertile land in the world
yeah.
is in the United States.
correct.
Yeah,
That's-
because
yeah,
right
yes.
next to the most powerful river in the world, by
Right.
the way, the
Yep.
Mississippi River.
Yeah.
Like there's not a more powerful river in the world.
Right.
I want to say this. Thank you guys, because my hair is growing back. I want to say thank you genuinely. My hair is growing back. I want to ask this question because this is kind of in the news right now. Trump might get indicted. There's been a lot of talk about this, that for paying off that porn star Stormy Daniels for some potential
that's illegal
affair.
to pay off hoes?
I
That's
think
illegal?
I know it's
should've married
ridiculous.
her.
Isn't that embedded?
The issue arises.
documents?
Yeah. So no. It's not
we
a
go.
federal
Okay.
case. So I'll give you guys a quick little background on it. Then I'll turn it to y'all. See what you guys think. Basically, the New York DA's office is probably going to indict him for some type of fraud because he used campaign funds to pay his lawyer. Paid the woman off, and then he used campaign funds to pay his lawyer off and reimburse him for paying that chick off. It was somewhere around $150K or something like that, $150,000 to $300,000, so that she wouldn't go public while he was campaigning back in 2016.
Yes.
It's going to be a state case. It's not. This is completely separate from the federal case, which was for the classified documents that were found at Mar-a-Lago. So, there's a good chance that he might be indicted by the state of New York. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you think, obviously, that's going to affect things significantly?
Well, maybe. I don't believe in the Constitution it says that a convicted felon cannot run for president, because he sure as fucking run for Senate and he sure as fucking run for the House of Representatives.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't believe, Aaron, do you know anything about it? I don't think.
I know.
But here's the thing: he's just
nothing.
going to be indicted, and honestly, I looked at it. It's a bullshit felony charge. It could even be a misdemeanor, but
Yes.
it's Donald Trump. They probably want to make an example.
Isn't
of
there
him.
protections when you're running for president? So they may actually he may win the presidency.
No, if you're under indictment, you can't run.
Oh shit.
I think this is
That's why it's
Technicality.
going on. That's exactly why it's
Technicality.
going on.
There we
If
go.
you're under indictment by a grand jury in the United States, you cannot run.
Just
On purpose.
We're
Yes.
gonna go way back to me and Aaron Clary's time. Aaron Burr, when he shot Alexander
Yeah,
Hamilton,
Alexander, yeah.
had a federal arrest warrant for the murder of Alexander Hamilton while he was the sitting vice president of the United States,
hood.
and literally sat in the Senate and broke ties literally while there was a federal murder warrant for him. So the thing, the point we're trying to make here is that just because people have committed crimes doesn't mean they can't run for public office. But right, the indictment thing is not something I'd ever heard before.
Yeah, at least that's what I've been told, that when you're under indictment by a grand jury, you cannot run for public.
How long is that
You had-
process?
Yeah,
It's a state case. So the thing is with the state,
Which state is
they're
it? It's New
slow.
York, right?
It's New York.
It's government.
And they're slow,
It's
man.
government.
The feds, at least you can request like a speedy trial. I mean, you can request a speedy trial in general, but the feds tend to move a lot faster and a lot smoother. With the state, man, their docket is so backlogged. And
New York
But-
of all places.
yeah.
The timing is so perfect.
Yeah.
This is not
Yeah.
an accident.
No.
Go ahead.
Well, this is signaling the death of our democracy or of our republic.
Yeah.
When you're actually taking it to the length of saying, you know what, I'm not even going to let you compete. And all of the voters don't get to support the person they wanted to support. So this is definitely signaling the death of our democracy.
You
That's
just
number
said something
one.
really powerful.
Yeah.
You said our republic. And
That's what it really is, but
that's what
for the
it-
people
that's
who
what
know
it's
the word
supposed to
democracy,
be. Yeah. But just for like a young guy
Yeah.
watching, could you speak to that for a second?
A republic, in short, to keep it simple, is the idea that you have others representing you, and they're really the ones that are exercising democracy. Like, we don't have a plebiscite like you would in ancient Greece. So you essentially have other agents who represent you. Anything?
No,
Okay.
nothing. I just think it's an important distinction.
Yes.
Really, I'm
Yeah,
really glad
yeah,
you
because
said
some
it.
of the audience might not understand
Yeah.
the difference.
And so, one, our democracy our republic is dying, and it's really sad to see this. And also from a power play position, and from a like, damn, you ain't learned nothing from Henry Kissinger position. Trump, when he got into office and people were yelling, "Lock that B up,"
Oh yeah, lock her up. He's talking about Hillary.
and he had the opportunity to take moves against his enemies, and he didn't. That was a bad move. In my book, The Black Box, I write, don't you ever know that someone is an enemy and expect them not to act as enemies do? You know their position towards you. So basically, you have the chance to cut their throat. No, I'll do it tomorrow. Then they cut your throat before you can get to it.
You think Hillary is the person he should have went after when he got in?
I think that if he would have went after more of those persons, his opposition would have been less when he was going up for re-election.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
He would have been able to consolidate power and weaken his enemies.
Right. Fair enough.
I think he made a lot of missteps. I also think he was one of the few American politicians. Like, we haven't had a good, like, real powerful politician that people are like, not only will I vote for you, not only will I talk about you to my friends, but I'll ride and die for you.
Yeah.
Since we had, like, a Huey P. Long in Louisiana. You're from Louisiana?
No, he's from Louisiana.
You're from Louisiana.
We are aware of Mr. Long.
Yes. Crazy son bitch. Very, very articulate. Gives a great speech. Did some amazing things, but the people who hate him, but the people who rocked with him were very serious about it. It was revolutionary.
Yeah.
Donald Trump failed to take that power that he had with basically white folks who have a certain position in the society today that's peculiar.
Okay.
He no, and I can get
I
into
like the
that
way
in
you
a second.
phrased that.
No,
Yeah.
it's important to talk about.
Yeah.
But he failed to properly organize them. Like, this guy is a party unto himself. He's like Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill went between parties because he had that much fucking juice. To where it's like, look, if I'm a Democrat, now you're a Democrat.
Party, right?
If I'm a this, now you're that because you mess with me.
Yeah.
It was like fanatical people following.
He doesn't need the party's backing.
He didn't.
Yeah.
And he failed to organize those people effectively and really take good leadership.
Do you think
of
that
them.
came from maybe hubris of him thinking he was going to get reelected and he was so confident he would beat Sleepy Joe?
You know what I think what really was? It was from him growing up in the bourgeoisie and being like, we're all rich friends and like we get along. Like we're all friends, but we're also all competitors in this room. We're all in the same industry. We're friends and we're competitors. But I would not assume you're going to go on my channel or go on your channel and talk like, oh, don't subscribe to the Saint in the Center on YouTube. Like, I wouldn't think you would do that. Something ruthless like that, right? But politics is a bit more dirty than what we're into.
You're right.
And so what happened was him and Clinton, Hillary, they were all friends before that. He's like, I donate to their stuff. And he didn't think that they were going to be so ruthless as to
She
try to
signed
put
the
him in
tax
jail.
bills that she criticized him on.
Precisely. And so he basically said, you know what? We're the patricians. We might disparage each other publicly to get the vote of the plebeian.
But we're going to send our kids to the same schools.
Precisely. And we're friends at the end of the day.
And I'll see you on the island and all that shit.
Right. So you that part.
We're the little kids.
You said, I'll see you on the island.
So he didn't kill when he had
He
to
didn't kill himself, man. We know that.
So just I'm going to play devil's advocate because I'm not saying you're wrong, but my concern was that if he does that, he is severely alienating the middle once he goes off and he takes a 60-year-old woman and throws her in prison. That's the only
especially because she's a woman.
Yeah. But the other issue is like what I think from his standpoint, he won the election. What threat is she anymore? Right?
That's
She's
what he was thinking.
Yeah, so massively unpopular, and she had so many holes in her game. Like she's literally voting for the war that she criticized, that Barack Obama was talking about. Like she literally voted for the war that later on she criticized. So yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know that was the end of our republic, and I'll tell you why. Because John Wilkes Booth tried to end our republic, and
you're talking about them trying to lock up Trump.
Yeah, trying to lock up Trump. Because while every generation we think it's the worst ever, I read about what happened during Vietnam, bro. That was way more violent than what's going on now. Even with the January 7th stuff, way more violent. I feel Sirhan tried to end our republic. Fucking Lee Harvey Oswald tried to end our republic. There have been extreme people that have tried to do that. I think the reason the republic works is because it's slow and it's bogged down, and there's three branches of government, and they're supposed to check each other, and things are supposed to not work. I think our founding fathers realized we need to put as many monkey wrenches in this as possible so that change doesn't happen super fast. And so what happens is even if we get a complete maniac as president, there's only so much he can do because he's got the Supreme Court and he's got the legislation to go through. I think that's part of why this whole thing kind of works, or does it work sometimes to our favor?
I think the machinery of government works.
Yeah.
That's correct. I think the machinery of the American government works. And I think you're a patriot, and I'm a patriot too.
Yeah.
I think the sad thing is that the culture is the problem. So the machinery can work just
correct.
fine.
Yeah. This is what I was talking about yesterday. And it's not even the morals, it's the consequences. There are no consequences.
I mean, and I mentioned white folks earlier, which is a really important thing because every nation state basically at some point it was probably homogenous, and there was a prevalent culture or a mainstream culture.
Yeah.
At the point in which you start to demonize mainstream white American culture, you forget that Mount Rushmore is not all white guys on accident. Like, they didn't pick these guys at random. They didn't do the things that they accomplished on accident. So basically, we've thrown out the baby with the bathwater. The white males become so emasculated. The white female somehow manages to outpace him educationally, soon financially, and then all the power. And here's the weird thing: she even accuses him of racism and white privilege, as though she doesn't turn around and
talk to him, man. I've been saying this forever.
Yo,
I've been saying this forever. The common enemy in the United States is the Caucasian male. Let's attack him. Let's not give him the same job opportunities. Let's say he's a racist. Let's say he's a bigot. Oh yeah, you have white privilege. Blah blah blah. Make him ashamed of being himself. Ridiculous. And if you speak about this, oh, you're an Uncle Tom, blah, blah, blah.
And I'm not here to resurrect the white man.
Yeah.
I'm not here to resurrect the white man. I'm here to say that this mofo had a really strong culture that meant something, and it created great civilizations. And when you lose that, that's why we're in decline, which is to say Benjamin Franklin matters. George Washington, even though he was a great slaveholder, he still matters. And I just want to point out Henry Ford, who's one of my favorites. One thing he pointed out, and like no one wanted to listen, he said, when you come into this country, you need to assimilate. And what people need to understand, and when I travel throughout the world, like for example in Europe, people are very pessimistic. You want to talk about entrepreneurship in Europe? Forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
They're too busy taking naps in the middle of the day out there.
They want to go on a
Spain.
siesta. Yeah, they don't believe in entrepreneurship, which is one of the reasons they don't really innovate very much. I mean, they know how to be efficient, but they're not the leaders. Which is why we had to rebuild them with the Marshall Plan. But anyways, the point is this. Ford did a phenomenal thing for America. This was an economic thing, but it was also culture. And when he said, you come in this mug, you have to assimilate, which is to say, learn about what we mean when we say we're capitalists. You want to be equal, go to Europe. They're socialists. They want to be equal. They make sure that the poor is not too poor.
Yep.
You come to this place, we call it the land of opportunity. We don't care where you came from, but when you show up here, if you're willing to work hard, be intelligent, be industrious, be a good person, you can make it to the apex. And it doesn't matter what color you are, but you have to soak up some of this ism we have here, which is the belief that you should be thrifty, that you should have a savings rate. We used to have a 50% savings rate in America.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Like all of these beliefs made us us. And then when we in no disrespect to the people coming in through the southern border, it's not because they're Latino. I mean, if the southern border had a European country, the Albanians would be coming through. If the southern border had an African country, like people from Zimbabwe would come through.
And they still come in anyway. I'll tell you that from experience.
Right?
They still coming through the southwest border anyway. You good.
But what people don't realize is when you have an influx of basically another country flushing their toilets on us, that's what's happening. It's not, you don't get the smart people from Mexico, the successful people from Mexico coming. I know, because I know them. Yeah. And they're good because Mexico's a cool place to live if you have money.
Right.
They're flushing their toilets on us, and it's changing our culture. And people don't realize that if you take everyone from a retrograde economy and bring them into a developed economy, eventually we will become the place they left if they overpopulate here.
Damn, tell them.
Tell them, bro.
Yeah.
That's what's going on with London. They don't want to talk about that.
And that gets me mad because
society.
they're spending £7 million a day on that.
Yeah.
£7 million a day on people who are not asylum seekers. They're economic migrants.
Yeah.
I know a solution is one we did before.
Canada too.
Every time you get a degree in science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, you get a green card. Why don't we? The thing is, what we could do is fix immigration to where we just let the smartest in. But we stopped doing that too, and I think that's part of the problem. We stopped respecting physicists. We stopped respecting computer scientists, and we don't care what country they're from. Now we give them student visas.
Yeah.
We do, but so many people I've talked to, they can't stay in this country.
and people-
These are the smartest people in the world. We need them to stay here.
Now, people hate Trump, right? But the wall. Let's talk about the wall. Now, it might have been a bad idea to some people, but for example, those criminals that come to our country, bro, what are they doing? The crime. So that by itself, bro, To your point.
10 girls just unfollowed you on Instagram.
I'm just saying.
It's like, they're like,
Listen, don't worry.
yes, I'm Charlie.
They don't know how to unfollow. You're good.
The other thing I was going to just add in there is the point that you made about capitalism. We're also demonizing capitalism. That's a huge subject right there. We could talk a whole webinar.
I heard somebody say
YouTube
that
channel
black
about that.
people are naturally not capitalists. Like capitalism is a white person thing. I was like, you're dumb as hell. Because
Right.
if anybody needs capitalism, it's black people. Their biggest issue is economic, and it like always has been since they were set free.
Right.
It's always been economic. But to the point about
Was it Black Wall Street? Yeah. Shit, yeah. Well,
to the point about not bringing in the cream of the crop from other nations, what do you have on the Chinese side? They have the Belt and Road Initiative.
But here's the thing. Yeah, but here's the other thing. When people come from other countries here, when they come here, a lot of times they're gonna want to stay here when they see because we've got the blonde hair and the big titties here. I'm not going back to Beijing. I'm staying here. That I've seen that happen so many times. We could keep these people here, and we did for the longest time. If you look at our space program, those were not
Germans.
Americans. If you look at our fucking nuclear programs, those were not Americans. That we ended up doing that. We understood that concept, but now we don't do that anymore. I think just jingoism to a certain extent. I agree, but once we get to a certain point, like I want the best and smartest people here because I love this country.
Jingoism.
Let me ask you guys a question.
You want to define that one for
So
people?
we've seen, because I think immigration is a fantastic thing, but you got to let the right people in, and you got to let the people in that do it legally versus the people that don't do it legally, right?
And models. Models should all be allowed in this country.
So, so you look at somewhere like Japan, third strongest economy in the world, extremely homogenous. They don't allow immigration in. They're like, we don't care about y'all. You ain't coming in here. Boom, boom, right? They don't care. But then you look at somewhere like Dubai, right? UAE. 80, 90% expatriates, and they're one of the safest places. You can literally leave your doors open. How is it that the UAE was able to figure it out with all these immigrants, but we weren't? I mean, anyone want to speak to that a
Because
little
they
bit?
had jobs. Because I used to live there. I lived there for like 10 months. They have jobs. They had jobs for these people. They have extremely strict rules, and so where
Islam helps.
our federal government is we get our money through taxation, and they don't have that same thing. What they have is a port system where they can pay for their entire education system and their infrastructure completely through the ports. And what happens, it's really funny, even their military, they're enlisted or TCNs, third country nationals. Their officers are all Emirati citizens.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
They don't have a department of what we have an INS. They have a department of identification there. It's different there, right? And even if you marry an Emirati, you don't become a citizen.
Yeah.
You get if you
Very
have a baby.
difficult to
I
get
believe you get
citizenship.
$600,000 if you have a baby or something like that from the
They
government.
give you a free home. They get crazy
incredible.
benefits for being an Emirati.
Because the country has this one weird thing, and the state of Texas is similar because we made so much money from petroleum. To go to college in the state of Texas was damn near free. I mean, it was really, really cheap for the longest time. This is very similar to what they had there. They have the ports company which paid for the entire thing. So I think that's what made it a little different. On a smaller experiment, it works. When you get to the size of China, then it doesn't work anymore, right? So that's or if you get to the size of Indonesia, you don't have that industry that can just pay for all of your infrastructure. I think that's the difference.
Justin, you were going to say something.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, I was going to say that they have speed. So unlike America, they got one dude in charge. He's like, fix that fucking right?
And they have Lamborghinis to go fix
Right.
to
So
drive
the
there,
dude
fix
gets in the
whole-
Lambo, he pours a quickcrete out, they whip it up, they float it real quick, it's over.
And they have a lot of third world workers too.
And that was the other thing is when you're there, you don't really see a lot of middle class. There's rich,
Or poor.
and there's poor.
You're right, dude.
Yeah.
And
You're
those
right.
boys are lined up next to the 5 hotel, and you're leaving in the Uber, and there's like 40 of them just sitting there, just waiting to go to work. And so they have that, and they have speed. You know, and I think those two things allow them to do a lot that America could not do at that rate.
So you think that's a big reason why they're safe? They don't have some of the same issues we do with the mass
and
immigration.
I think they're like the modern day Switzerland. And I think
Yes.
a lot.
No,
the
that's
money-
a good point.
Switzerland.
Yeah, so this that perfect combo.
Crime comes from economic destitution, and like they don't have. What I'm saying is they don't have a ghetto culture where they reward people for breaking the law like we do in the
they'll
United
fuck you up.
States,
Yeah.
where we literally you are looked out.
Get caught with drugs in UAE, bro. It's a wrap for you.
sure. But in our culture, we look up to people who. I listen.
Rappers,
I listen to NWA and
celebrities.
36 Mafia. I'm just as guilty as anybody else. My point is they don't have that culture there. Number one, and number two, they don't have massive unemployment. People are there for a purpose. The
Right.
place is growing, and so because of that, you don't see that destitution. I bet you if you look all over the world, you're going to see a lack of crime in situations like that. Wherever everyone has a place to be, a place to sleep, and a thing to do,
Yeah.
and a family.
Even the
I think
bitches are working. They're hoes.
Talk about that, bro.
And I'll tell you why I
Same.
respect them more than I hate to say the conservatives in America, because I'm very conservative, but they not only hold their ground, they send counterfire. And I feel like if Trump made a mistake or the Republicans make a mistake, we hold our ground, but we kind of get dragged because there's so much bullshit that comes from the left.
Yeah,
we don't send enough counterfire. They don't put up with that shit over there.
That's right.
At all. Zero tolerance.
Yeah.
Boom. Done. And so nobody comes with
Two
that
genders only.
Yeah. Nobody comes. Yeah, seriously. Nobody comes with that bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's why you see there's a big push for Islam right now.
Yeah.
I won't speak that on my opinion. I don't have a dog in that fight, but at least they hold their ground.
stand
Whereas
for something,
Christianity and Republicans, I have to say, do
It's
not.
flaky. Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question? I'm really curious because I feel like I've always been perplexed at the disconnect with the American religious community, like the evangelicals, and their deep hatred for Islam. In as much as in America, you'll find churches with rainbow flags on them, even though the book
That's bullshit.
has a
though.
very clear
Yeah.
stance.
You got a
against
very
it.
religious guy here.
Yeah,
The house.
the
He was
same.
going to be a.
So you have three monotheistic practices: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, which have a lot of things in common. But for some reason, if you talk to a conservative white Christian, they're convinced that Islam is the devil, and it's almost like they're closer to the LGBTQ side of things than they are to the, hey, I don't agree with this, like Allahu Akbar and like yelling and like I don't agree with all that.
Yeah.
But we have the same view on homosexuality. We have the same focus on family. We have the same concept of take care of orphans. It's like weird that they don't acknowledge any crossover.
The average
Have
American.
you ever met? Have you ever met Vikings and Bears fans? They're all both on Lake Michigan, but
Neither of them can read. They
yeah,
can drink a lot.
I would say the average American Christian thinks Dubai is a country.
Okay.
And that is dangerous.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll add to the
Yeah.
point as well. So there's a saying that goes, "Money is the root of all evil," right? And for churches, what are they funded by? The government. These entities, right? And for them, it's like, okay, cool. Our goal is to kind of like convert people to Christianity by any means possible. But that leads to what? More money for the church. However, Islam has a stand on most of these topics. For example, no gays or none of that type of stuff. We're like, you know what? If we get paid from the government, we get funded.
Okay.
You know what? We can let it slide here and there. And what happens is when you do that one time, it's a gas fire because now everything is cool. You know what? We're getting funding from the government. That can slide too. And the Pope, bro.
Oh, yeah,
Holy,
he's tripping,
he's
yeah.
letting everything slide.
he is
At this point,
tripping.
bro, our religion is down the drain. There's nothing to stand for.
Fair enough.
So that's the sad
Okay.
part.
Give me that cross chain.
But I will say there are some that do stand the ground as well. But in the society itself, we as a whole, we don't stand any ground.
let me throw this
For the
in
most
here
part.
to maybe expedite the conversation or clarify it for the audience. I think some of you guys are arguing from an idealistic,
Optimistic.
optimistic view of America. Yeah. You guys, through the weekly, go through the filth of America. You're like the colon.
Why do you think I'm growing my hair back right now? This conversation.
And I know, rah, America, and you're not wrong, but you have to realize the World War II generation is long dead. We have replaced it with Zoomers and Millennials. There's nothing wrong with being born in these particular ages, but the domestic population, immigrants notwithstanding, is shit. It's absolute shit. We're lazy. We don't have Christianity's dead. I mean, there are some small segments that are true and traditional and all are orthodox for
Amish, yeah.
right. Well, just they adhere to, hey, there's this thing called the Bible. I wonder what it says. Oh, hey, there's some rules here, man. But we could talk about republics, democracies, Dubai, shoulda, woulda, coulda, Trump. But we have a shit population. Americans are fat, disgusting pigs. They're lazy. They don't work. They all major in, like you were saying, English and patty cake and jerk-off studies.
Yeah.
You have a low-quality, low-caliber population. Wow. We're going to suffer no matter who's up on Mount Rushmore, no matter what laws we have in place. And until that changes, that's just my simple, traditional sovereign risk analyst view. You're a population of shit. you're all disgusting and fat. No, why is there a birthing crate? I don't know. You got to lift a fupa up just to get, like
You can't impregnate.
yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, like,
That's
well,
horrible.
gee, and we all hate each other, and you got an ideology. The new religion is basically parasitism in whatever variant form of socialism it is. Could be rank, class, envy. It could be environmentalism. It could be feminism, where women just like, oh my God, I have a vagina. I'm amazing, and that's the only thing about me. That no civilization or culture, no matter what the treatment, is going to recover from that. And so until you get people to get off their asses and go work and get their head out of their asses, that their values derive from a parasitic ideology, nothing is really going to change. And if there's any advice I give young men listening, and any women get their heads out of their asses long enough to listen, is have an indispensable skill, diversify, crypto, and Dubai, foreign outside investments. That's what I would be looking at right about.
And let me say one more thing. Michael brought up a very good point. People don't read anymore. So in the church, right? What are you supposed to do?
Oh, you
go to
took my
church,
point, bro.
right?
Yes.
You read the Bible to know and confirm what you read in church. But what happens is you just go to church, you partied last night, you just had sex last night, right? And then the pastor says, "Oh yeah, thou shalt not drink on Tuesdays." You're like, "Oh, that's true," but you didn't read the Bible. So what happens is you're following somebody that is funded by the government and as well that their own ideals. And then the church itself, you know what's happening with the church? They're scared of Islam. You know why? Because they know that religion can take over the whole world.
Because they have rules.
Exactly. And standards.
Yeah.
So going back to what you said
Which
before,
is basically discipline.
Exactly.
I don't remember like this hatred for Islam in the 1980s. I'm pretty old. I think this happened. This is a somewhat propaganda that happened after 9/11. I think that a great deal of it came from that, and it's still sort of lingering. I actually think it's died off a little bit since I remember in like 08, 07, 06, it was bad. Right?
I remember too. I mean, I grew up Muslim. Yeah, in 01, it was really bad.
Yeah,
I remember.
Oh wow! Really? I have another reason to not like you.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. We're enemies.
So I think
Them
that's
boys.
the other reason.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. I can't remember the survey. If somebody could look it up and remember the amount of atheists who have read the Bible cover to cover versus the amount of Christians. It is something like 67% of atheists and 36% of Christians have read, or even less than that, have read the Bible cover to cover. So I happen to know, and I'm not against gay people. Gay people do whatever they want, but I happen to know in the book of Leviticus and the book of Romans, that's where it specifically says in the Bible that man should not lay with another man. I happen to know that. But I don't, like, I'm just, no one else reads the shit. There's so many people who quote Revelations to me, or they quote the Deuteronomy or Leviticus to me, and I'm like shocked that they're like, you don't have any idea what you're talking about. You learned this from someone else. Because the Bible's a tough read, dude. It is a fucking tough.
It is.
It's like Ulysses by James Joyce and then the Bible, bro. It is really hard to read that shit.
But Mike, you know who knows the Bible the best?
Atheists.
The devil.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
And
just got deep.
And hold on. And
He's going to be a minister.
No, I was studying, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny because the Bible itself, right, has a lot of principles in it that most people don't follow. But I'll say this. The last book, Revelation, is on point because everything that's said in the book is happening right now. That being said, though, the whole type of, like, contrast between Islam and Christianity is that, like, we believe in Jesus and they don't. So...
Yeah, that's really the only main difference. We just don't acknowledge him as a god or the son of God. But
he's
we
prophet.
we acknowledge him as a prophet.
Yes.
Yeah.
So fundamentally, we follow most of the same things. However, I'll just say from a holistic standpoint, if you're going to look at Christianity as a whole, we don't follow the book. And secondly, we don't care to know because we just follow a pastor blindly. That's the biggest point.
Yeah, Pastor talking about like in the holy book of Nigalations, chapter 5, verse 3.
Praise, Pastor.
The Lord wants you to get me another jet. Okay, Creflo Dollar.
Never come across that.
Okay, Creflo Dollar.
The Holy Ghost is in my penis. Suck it.
I just one quick question for the upcoming minister. What does the Lord say about buying Lamborghinis and $40,000 shoes?
That's in
Listen,
Psalms,
man.
actually.
As a man of God, I refrain to answer. But yeah, that's one point there.
So I got, you know what, and then I'll go to the chats after this, but I got to ask this.
Yeah.
It seems like from what we're talking about between, potential World War III, TikTok taking over, people being losers, fat, deplorable state,
Religion.
United States coming down. It seems across the board here that the United States is losing its grip on the earth is the leading power.
Yeah.
As far as like influence goes. Maybe we got the military still backing it up, but our people are definitely going down as far as
because we're away from
respect.
the survival scenario. We're further away from a survival scenario.
Yeah.
That's the reason why. Yeah.
what do guys need to do? What like is the U.S. on a decline? Is there anything that we can do to change this?
Get a passport, leave.
Yep.
Hey, that might be a viable solution.
I don't know.
I want to get your guys' takes on it. I mean, who wants to take it first?
I'll take it first. The one thing I would say is simple: not getting a passport to leave, getting a passport to travel.
Okay.
Because I would say the biggest thing that Americans have problems with is understanding their place in the world.
Okay.
Like it's this, just. There we go. Yeah, it's just like basically this bubble of people saying the same shit, not really understanding what they're talking about, kind of like what you're saying there, with Aaron Clary's point, right? And so basically, a lot of people, right? They simply just they don't understand the context of the real world, and because they don't have the context, right? They're gonna act, how the media tells them to act.
What did living in
essentially.
Japan teach you about the United States?
It's interesting. I mean,
You spent a significant amount of time over there.
Yeah. I would say like a lot of what Marquette was saying about homogeny, right, was 110% on point. I mean, he's been through Asia as well, right? And so that part where and
There are even more races in Japan.
yeah, oh yeah.
What do they call you over there?
Gaijin?
Gaijin?
Oh yeah, gaijin.
Gaijin?
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah,
that
yeah.
is what's funny about leaving America. You find out who's actually
Racist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, bro,
Yes.
bro, other places are actually racist.
They like don't
Well, there's-
serve you and shit, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Well,
you
fuck
can't
you,
come in.
kid.
You
White
want
guy,
to
get out.
hear something hilarious? There's this one bar in Shibuya. It's about like 4 or 5 stories tall. You go there with your friends and everything, right? And we're like, okay, we want a table with some of our expat friends and some of our Japanese friends and everything. There's a sign right outside the front door. Boom, right there. No foreigners allowed.
It's incredible.
And so you walk up
Respect.
to the door,
Thanks.
and you're like, "What are you gonna do? Are you gonna turn around and like not go in there, or are you gonna say like, hey, I want a seat, right? You say you want a seat, and they put you in the corner, right? They put you, and
Discrimination.
there
gotta Rosa
happens
Parks
to
that
be
shit.
other foreigners around here, like, and all the other floors are purely Japanese for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of these things where I would say like most Americans, right? They just they think America is so special. A lot of the points that Aaron was making there is really, really important. So if you get out of your comfort zone, if you go and you actually see the world, right, then that's where the change that Aaron's talking about can happen, right? Where all of a sudden you get like a educated, well-rounded society, right? But because of the media, right, we're so far down the tubes in that, it's just like good fucking luck. But for individuals, you can do this. As a society as a whole, we're whatever, it is what it is. But for individuals, right, just get a passport, go out there, travel, start in the United States, right? Like start traveling, to like the other side of the country. If you're from New York, go to LA or whatever, right? And then as long as you start doing that stuff, then you'll start thinking differently.
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
See, anybody else? Is the West on the decline? What? Oh, did you have something?
I'm with Aaron though, because I know people are optimistic, but like to be real with you, bro, this world's fucked. And at this point where we're going right now, there's no stopping it. However, I will say this though. Looking at Aaron is funny as hell, but I'll say this. Regarding people leaving America, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
But are they going to do it? Probably not.
No, most people.
Yeah, they probably won't.
And a lot of people complain they don't have the means to do so and everything. And it's just like
They're lazy. That's all it is.
Yeah.
100%.
Where should people go, Charlie? You're saying travel or the world. Where should they go?
Non-Western society, like
Okay.
if you're an American, like go to South America, like that's something that's completely different. You go over to, when I went to Germany, right, like everybody there speaks fucking English. So I'm like, I start speaking a little
'cause we
German.
won.
Yeah. Well, but in Japan they don't.
That's because we
Right?
won. Oh, sorry. Yes. Right.
Because we won, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Actually, we are
American
not
military
allowed to
bases
put
there.
a bomber anywhere on the islands.
Okay.
In Kadena and Yokota.
Oh, that makes
no
sense.
bombers.
Yeah, but we're
Only
parked all out there.
KC-135s, cargo planes. No bombers are allowed. We put our bombers in Guam. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Let me.
But yeah.
sorry.
No, I'm just traveling to
was
those
Mike
types of
next
countries,
or?
all I was
I'll say
Do
next.
you-
Go ahead.
Okay.
Aaron.
No, just those types of countries.
What?
Well, this is
I
like,
think Mike
this is
had-
like the Spider-Man thing right
Okay.
now.
Okay. Yeah, and then
Here
Aaron
we go.
next.
All right, ready?
Yeah. Are we on the decline? What should we do? What's
a
next?
Are we on the decline? I don't know. A hardcore shift to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Not STEAM, not science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. That is nonsense. I'm totally in favor of people wanting to get a degree in art, pay for it your fucking self. The federal government should be paying for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics degrees. We need to get back to a populace. 4% of millennials believe the earth is flat. Guys, we have got to get back. We have got to get back. By the way, watch your chat.
What about the ice wall? What about
watch
the
your
ice
chat
wall,
when they start coming after me, too. They fucking
The
hate
earth
me,
is
bro.
flat, bro.
But listen, when we do this kind of stuff, like the fact that we don't understand basic biology, we don't understand human evolution anymore, we don't understand any of these concepts.
Yeah.
This is where we are falling behind. I promise you, we talk about the greatest nation. We had an economic boom in the 1950s. You know what else happened in the 1950s? We were at war with other countries, and we were near the survival scenario. So we taught our children science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And that's where some of these incredible breakthroughs came from. We need to encourage companies, any kind of technological innovation, we need to go in that direction. That's the thing. Now, what comes with that? Fake news. It comes with a lot of chaff. It comes with a lot of misleading stuff, for sure. But I want the bandwidth faster. I want more technology. I want more innovation. Those things right here, if you go back and look at every problem that we've had throughout history, it wasn't Republicans or Democrats that came up with antibiotics. It was technology. It wasn't Republicans or Democrats that came up with the automobile. It was Henry Ford. It was like, it's one of these situations where technology is going to be the thing that ends up solving the problem. It is not Keynesian economics, and it is not trickle-down economics. It is technology. So for me, if you want to get everything back on track and want this utopian society that we dream of, that's what's going to happen. Now, there will be a consequence, because once we start 3D printing houses and start growing massive amounts of GMO food, we are going to have a class of people who don't do shit.
Yeah.
They don't do anything.
Yeah.
And that's the that's a separate problem. There's a great book about, if you guys want to read the Expanse series by James S. Corey, 90% of the population is unemployed, and they all just live on basic, but they're happy and fat and dumb.
But to add to your point, Mike, you know what they have for that?
What?
Depopulation.
Depopulation, but like, it's really interesting, right? So I don't think rich people not having more kids, or intelligent people not having more kids, they're incentivized to do so. They're just wanting to get that second master's degree, right? Or they're watching shit like our shit, and they're like, they don't want to have kids because they listen. They're like, I don't want this red flag woman in my house.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the problem too. That's one of the issues. As far as like deliberate depopulation, I don't know, man. I just so many people on this planet. I'm not that worried about that.
I'm talking about the silent killer, not the
do you
open
mean?
ones. For example, like the food we eat.
Oh, for sure.
The air we
Obesity,
breathe. All of these
diabetes,
things are causing people to die, and they're doing it slowly but surely.
Yo, it's crazy how a crazy terrorist from the 70s named the Unabomber wrote a whole manifesto about this shit, and it's somewhat coming true with his whole argument against industrialization and what it would lead to.
Shout out to
Says
Harvard.
the Muslim guy.
Yeah, he went to Harvard. Yeah,
Shout out to Harvard. I'm going to be there next week.
yeah.
Says
Thank
the
you,
Muslim
Justin.
guy in the hoodie.
You know who it is? Yeah. Oh, no, it's fine. They don't know.
Okay, go.
Them boys in Arabic. Okay. Who else wants to go? What thoughts on it?
I'll say.
Oh,
real
yeah,
quick.
please. No,
listen,
go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
Like I said,
Take your
before,
time, bro.
For the takeaway for your audience to survive this world that we're facing, invaluable skill, like you said, STEM, absolutely accounting, preferably something remote location or imminently employable in any place that you go. All right. The ideal situation, be able to pull resources and income from multiple countries, no matter where you are. So if one goes down, that's too bad. That happened to Germany or whatever. You still got Australia, the United States, and China paying you. Cryptocurrency as a diversified investment as an insurance policy. And then also visas, being able to travel, ideally multiple passports, so you do not have to be anchored to one particular country system. Even the simplest of things you can do right now is to get digital residency in Estonia, so you could still operate on the internet no matter what happens to your home country. So, but this is a whole other world where you'd have to bring in sovereign man and other people who are more experienced in this field. But those would be the things I would do to hedge.
UAE is an option too.
UAE, but we could go through all 176 countries.
Yeah,
but that's
Estonia's
just the
nice, and the chicks have big tits, so it's a plus.
It's cold as shit. I don't ever want to go to no.
Listen, I live here because the girl have big tits. I'm sorry. That's why I live in Las Vegas.
There you go.
The one from yesterday was crazy, but okay. Shout out to her.
shout out to Liz.
Anybody else want to hit it, or I can hit the as far as like?
I got a couple notes on this.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So there's the individual level, and then there's the societal level.
Hit it.
And when we think of the societal level, we even have to think of it as like damn near a global society, because culture is spread so rapidly and
And the
transmitted
internet.
through social media. Yeah. Number one, I think that there's a tremendous amount of fear mongering and fear spreading, and sometimes we consume it and spread it, not realizing it. Like the go move away thesis, I think Tate's a great example of the go move away thesis doesn't work. You got a guy who's millionaire many times over, moved away. Oh, Romania is so good. Now you're in a Romanian prison. Like,
Well, he was from Romania.
What's that?
I believe he's from Romania, wasn't he?
No, he's
No,
from
no,
Chicago.
no, no.
Oh, he's from
Chicago.
Chicago. Okay,
American.
fine,
He's
sorry about
British
that.
and American, yeah.
Right. So the point is that you can go get 2 or 3 passports. You can make all these measures. And I have myself, I have some financial accounts in other countries. But at the end of the day, it comes down to power. And do we understand the true sources of power, some of which are fame, wealth, the respect of men, and the love of women. These are different sources of power that you can leverage. And we're so scared and fearful as men that we don't realize that we are in revolutionary times and violence is required. And what I mean by that is, do you not observe that the left, when they don't get their way, they get violent with us?
I saw something like that.
Have
in
you not
Minneapolis.
observed that some scandalous slore will get pregnant by you because she thinks you're well off, and then she will use the state as her instrument to extract money from you, which is violence? Do we not know that we have to organize and be together, like among men, and be willing to operate as a unit? I think that's what we're denying, is the fact that if we're in revolutionary times, we have to be willing to take revolutionary action. Right. And a part of that is going to be having to stand up to government, stand up to liberalism. Because here's the thing with sane people like us. The leftists, we make fun of them like, oh, they're always marching, they're yelling. But those things are actually effective. And the problem is, guys like us, we sit on our asses. When it was time to go vote for Trump, some of us didn't go vote. We support, but we didn't vote. When it's time to march, we're like, march? Come on. Like, I'm not going to go out and stand in the middle of a freeway and interrupt the society. Well, you can never beat an enemy if they're more ruthless than you are. That was our problem in Vietnam. Our soldiers didn't want to get into those little ass crawl spaces.
No, Nixon didn't want to nuke Hanoi. That's what that thing is over in 2 seconds. And anyway, we could go into that.
We could go into that.
Yeah.
We could go into that. But I'll tell you this. Here's what we should. This is where we need to center it, because it's the same thing with the terrorists as well. We had essentially mercenaries, and they had people who would die for soil, belief, religion, and blood.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
And Afghanistan with Russia as well. Same exact thing. That was their Vietnam. Yeah.
So I say that to say, like, we have to be serious about what we say we want. And it's like, either we're talking about, like, run away from America. Damn, America's your country. You're going to run away from it and leave it to these fucking uncivilized animals? That's not a manly thing to do. And when we sit back and we let the left do all of these things, and one thing you mentioned is we don't counter-strike. You know what's so sick and sad? The left is so intelligent and effective that we use their language, we use their words. I hear religious women saying, oh, I need to get a partner. Aren't you looking for a husband? We hear conservatives on Fox News say, oh, yeah, so-and-so is a transgender woman. When did it become a transgender woman? It's not a woman. You mean a man dressed as a woman?
Yeah.
We're using their language, which lets you know how deeply they've penetrated our psyche. You probably know the scholar. I forget his name right now, but he said there's a discourse with a capital D, and embedded in language is our ideas and our ideology. Language is not only expressive of reality, it's also constructive of reality. So when you use the term partner, you further remove gender from romantic relationships.
Damn, that's deep. That's what she said.
Bro, I'm to the point now when I go to LA and have a discussion with people about this, I say the XX gender and the XY gender.
Is getting there.
They want to get mad, but
Yeah.
they're like, no, that's technically correct. The XX gender can have babies. The XY gender can't have babies. And they're like, oh, you said something wrong somewhere. I know you did, but no, that is correct. Yeah, that's
and
what
Mark,
I'm saying.
you made a
have
great
to
point too
propagate that.
with like the protesting and stuff, because when something pisses them off, they're there with their purple hair and marching on Capitol Hill, etc. And that's something that on this side, guys like us were like, oh, I don't think we matter that much. I didn't vote. I should have voted in the situation. You're right. That's 100% true. And with the Tates, I do want to say this and bring awareness to on April 11th. There's going to be a protest in London and in Miami, and people should attend, because what's going on right now is an injustice to the brothers. And if we're not going to stand, who the fuck is?
A
We know these
peaceful
purple-haired feminists will go out
protest.
there and say a peaceful protest.
Peaceful
Of
protest.
course.
And you know why, even if you don't know Andrew Tate, and even if you didn't really care about Andrew Tate, you know why you have to go? Because you're in the Romanian prison, I'm in the Romanian prison. There's space for all of us in there.
You're right.
Facts.
You're right.
Nobody's safe.
And if that could happen to them, I've said this before, if it could happen to them, guys that have the influence and the power and the connections that they have, what do you think a normal guy's gonna have?
Even on the digital level, bro, like Miguel was saying, you're digital currency. If you don't do what they say, zero.
And there is a feminist agenda.
No.
The judge is a feminist. The prosecutor on the case, one of them, feminist. If you tell them with all the exculpatory evidence that shows that these guys are innocent, I mean that you're 100% right. That's one thing the left does well. They go and they cry and complain with their purple hair and they run on Capitol Hill and they stripping its thing and they're willing to get arrested and they're willing to riot and do all this crazy shit. You look at Minneapolis, they burn it down to the fucking ground. You know what I'm saying? You look at Portland, you look at Seattle, you look at all these crazy blue cities. What they do? Tear it down to the ground.
Well, and I think that's coordinated too, to some extent, through the media, because, like in Minnesota in particular, with the George Floyd stuff, that does not happen for the normal, average Minnesota citizen. Like, they went out the next morning and got their brooms, fucking cleaned up the streets as much as possible.
Yeah.
As much
People
as
like us.
possible.
Yeah.
Right. But one thing people forget about that as well, there was a drone that was flown over the city of Minneapolis from North Dakota, which is where they keep a lot of weapons right around. But as a drone, it's supposed to basically cover the Canadian border, right? It's supposed to stay around there. It's not supposed to go anywhere. Went down to Minneapolis, went around the city, and then went back. And do you think most of those people who were protesting there, right, basically anarchy, right, controlled anarchy to some extent, you think those people were actually mostly from Minneapolis? I don't think so.
No,
I
the
think they were
scabs,
brought in.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, people are going to call that a conspiracy theory, but you know, when you know a place, it's just like that shit does not fly there, and it's from something else.
And I just want to one more time, like April 11th is going to be in London and in Miami. There's going to be a protest. It's got to be peaceful, guys, because like I said before, they're just looking for anything to keep Andrew and Tristan in. But yeah, I mean, guys on this side of the internet, I know we're high IQ, we look at the world objectively, whatever. But yeah, we got to start doing some of the things that the left does. Obviously, not to their extent, committing violence and hurting people.
In respect of Google's guidelines, I do want to say that it should be peaceful and abide by the law.
Of course.
But I would also like to point out that the left is very strategic at breaking rules and getting away with it, and then they try to trap you in the system.
Film everything.
So
Film everything.
So let me give you an example. There's a lot of systems with rules. Like, for example, the APA. Historically, they don't remove a diagnosis out of the DSM. Was it the DSM?
It was DSM-4 in 1972 that labeled homosexuality as a
mental illness.
It was a mental illness. And the DSM, it was DSM-3, I think, maybe. I don't remember which one it was. But it was in 1972. The DSM-5 does not have that.
And usually when they pull something out, there's a peer-reviewed article written by like some experts, and they're like, the scientific community agrees that this research has shown us a new way. Did that process occur when they remove?
I don't believe it did. I think that was a little bit more of a political.
It was political because they were protesting outside of the meetings.
Bam.
The left was protesting, which is to say the APA had a clear process that they'd always followed, and ever since that, they've still followed the same process. The only time they broke the rules was when those people protested. And so what I'm saying to you all is that a government is just a group of people who are well organized and have a monopoly on power.
Yep.
They will also yield to other people who are organized and are willing to present some power. And one thing I can assure you of, if there was a protest in Romania that was significant in size and presence, and let people know, like, hey, we're riding for this guy, and if this guy doesn't get off, things are going to get ugly. He going to get off. And they're going to do it through the legal process, but somehow the legal process is going to yield the outcome that is favorable.
The APA has actually done something else. Richard Reeves, who brought this up, who is a political moderate, right? The Brookings Institute senior fellow. The APA does not make distinctions for dimorphic differences between men and women that have anything to do with hormones. They act as if hormones have nothing to do with it. There is nothing in there about hormones. Whenever they talk about why men are more aggressive or whatever, it is always a cultural construct that brings us in. It is never the fact that I have 17 times as much testosterone as you. It is never that. That is never the reason. So
everything's a social construct according to them. Nothing is biological.
My heterosexuality is a social construct. The fact that I like big boobs and a small waist is a social construct. The fact that I like attractive women is a social construct. The fact that I eat is a social
construct.
Cultural construct, and the fact that I eat red meat is a cultural.
And the reason why they use that stupidity is because when you use the word construct, what does that mean? You can also demolish it.
Yes, exactly right.
That's why they say that dumb shit.
And that's what you see with Victoria's Secret. If Victoria's Secret wants to be inclusive, that's fine with me. Just don't tell me I'm supposed to be attracted to it,
Right.
and don't call me a bigot when I'm not.
Right.
That's my only point. That is the only issue that I have. I have no issue if people want to change their gender. Just don't tell me that I don't get the right to know if afterwards if I choose my preference to not date you, that does not make me a bigot. It does not make me a homophobe or a fucking transphobe because I don't want to date someone like that. So that's the issue that I have is in those situations. Don't tell me what my preference is going to be, and don't tell me it's a cultural construct because it's not.
But look at how moderate and reasonable you are, and you're open to accepting their existence. Now, check this out. You accept their existence. So you're saying you can believe in what you believe, but on the other side, they're operating like Adolf, and they're like, we want to exterminate you.
Yeah.
People who believe like you, we need to exterminate you.
Yeah.
They're completely intolerant. So how are you going to beat them playing within the rules? Like,
Yeah, they claim you need to be tolerant of all, but they're not tolerant of you. Which is hilarious.
I remember when I was in Teach for America, and it was just the most insane liberal experiment. And now I understand.
Holy.
I know why the kids are poisoned, because if you teach them the wrong thing at a young enough age, they're going to believe it. It's the truth.
It's like, what, 20% of Zoomers? You say 7% of millennials believe the Earth is flat. 20% of Zoomers...
4%.
4%, sorry.
Yeah,
4% of flat Earth. 20% of Zoomers believe they're not straight.
Right.
Whether you're
It's
gay,
insane.
bi, it's like...
Yeah.
Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's become a way to be
shit.
cool and a way to differentiate yourself, and that is something interesting. Like as far as what happens
world.
afterwards, there's I don't I'm gonna go too far into this, but like what's the book Dataclysm by the CTO of eHarmony basically talks about how bisexual men on the platform only message men. Because for some reason, them being bisexual as opposed to homosexual is a higher status. So there's a status hierarchy amongst the community, and I think what's happened is a lot of kids are like, I get to play a victim if I choose to change my sexual preferences or whatever I state myself as. And at that point, like, listen, I know I'm heterosexual. We know we're heterosexual for the most part, right? We all know we're heterosexual.
Right.
I'm not confused about any of that. But maybe when you're really young, maybe you
Of
are
course.
enough to believe
Of
some
course.
nonsense. You haven't gone through puberty or whatever. And so now we're in kind of a dangerous time. The problem I think happens is that, like, no, and I'm saying this as a political moderate, there is no way you can tell me that someone is competent to not competent to join the military, not competent to vote, not competent to drink alcohol, not competent to smoke cigarettes, but we are cutting their gonads off at the age of 9. That is
They can't even wipe their ass.
I'm sorry, that is not possible.
Crazy.
Part of my heterosexuality, my choice to be heterosexual, was my desire to have sexual intercourse with women. But I have not gone through puberty yet. How can I possibly know whether or not I want to do that thing? I'm trying to say this in the most non-hateful way possible.
Right.
There's no fucking possible way that at 9 years old you should have the ability to cut off someone's gonads, male or female. That is unbelievably irresponsible. There is no possible way that they, again, in every other case, the decision is left to somebody the agency is left to someone who is 17 or 18 years old.
Right.
And in the case of other things like drinking, 21 years old. But we don't, for some reason in this case, and we're encouraging people to do this. I am not against, if somebody's 18 years old and wants to change their gender, go ahead and do it. I'll fight for your right to do it in the U.S. military. But don't tell me a 9-year-old is supposed to do this. That is not correct.
You know what else I think is very disgusting about that is it's under the premise that they are going to have to live with the fact that they wanted to make that decision and they weren't manipulated into doing it.
Yeah.
So now they live with the weight of saying, I chose to cut my penis. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
There was a Johns Hopkins MD PhD, born a male, transitioned to a female, transitioned back to a male. Wrote a number of articles on it. It was really heartbreaking because as a doctor, he understood what actually happened to him physically. And one, he described it as what it is, which is mutilation. But he said, when I got the surgeries and I was attempting to live as a woman, and then he says, there are this many genes that define me as a male regardless, like this many thousand. He said, when I was living as a woman, I was in pain the whole time because these surgeries are not...
normal.
Yeah,
They're not normal.
He was like, I was living in pain. Like he was like, I was growing hair inside of the fake vagina. Like there's so many things didn't go right that he was in physical pain. Then he speaks to the statistics, which is the truth of the statistics is that there's a higher suicide rate post-op.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So when they get what they
fucked it
want
up.
and they do the surgeries, they still somehow don't feel like they're supposed to, and they end up offing themselves.
Yes.
And that is not hate. It's actually love that we want to get these people the proper help so they're not hurting themselves.
Listen, in the United States of America, if you want to take a hammer to your own dick in your own house, you're fucking allowed to do that. You're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want, and I will fight for your right to do that. Okay? But not at 9 years old. You're not supposed to be doing this to yourself.
With a doctor.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
And I heard the excuse because when you do it at a younger age before puberty, then it takes better. It looks better. I get that.
That's sick.
But that is just, I'm sorry, that
so
is not,
sick.
I don't care how politically progressive, how much you hate everyone on this fucking panel. You cannot believe that it's okay for an 8 or 9 year old to cut their gonads off. That is not possible. There's no way you believe that. That is crazy. But go ahead.
What if that's all they have in life and gives them value? See, I've been on this battle since I was 20, being the sole not Democrat in Minnesota at the age. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of arguing what is common sense. You have to understand that we are so spoiled and people are so soft in this country and they don't have to work, but they still need some kind of reason to live. They'll find anything as long as you don't have to work. And here you
Aaron,
are.
that's going to get worse, too.
I've just been saying, I wrote this book called Enjoy the Decline 10 years ago.
Go get it.
Wow. I'm tattooing that on my shoulder.
I think we would all do ourselves a huge favor. Oh my God, little kids shouldn't cut their penis off. Yes, Mike, little kids should not cut their penises off. I think we know that. But you're not arguing with reasonable and rational people.
Yes,
you're arguing with ideologues whose ideology, or I'm sorry, let me choose my words correctly, whose strength of belief in that erroneous ideology is driven by their fear of actual work to develop something real in their life and actually have real value. So instead, you threatening them with logic and reason, they're going to strike back out at you, and they will demand fealty before they even entertain a logical argument or put the kid first or have any kind of adherence to reality. And once you realize, I don't know if that qualifies as mental illness or just fervor, it doesn't matter, they're being irrational. Yes, we should not cut little children's genitalia off, generally speaking. I don't know about you guys, but that's where I land. But I'm tired of arguing with leftist nut jobs. And these are the men, there's good Democrats, the labor Democrats aren't, I know them, they're good people. But this group, whether it's like, oh, I'm a pansexual, or I'm bi, I want the surgery, like, you can argue logically, a very clear libertarian argument. Well, go ahead, you're 18, you can do whatever you want. They don't want that. They want to have value, and by God, you better fucking worship them for it. So, I don't know about you. Okay. Oh, yeah, go do it. I don't care. I just don't care anymore. Because, now, I do care if it's about children, obviously, but it's using stoicism. It's not my point, not my fight. I can't, that's that person's child.
Sure, yeah.
She's dragging her kid in front of.
By the way, it's that parent that is the
right.
problem,
Right.
not
It's the same.
kid.
It's the same people that drag their kid into Drag Time Story Hour or whatever. I can't deal with it. But like 18, 19, 20, whenever you're, it's like, okay, fine, yeah, do it. But no, I'm not going to worship you. So once we get to that point, I think we'll save ourselves a lot of spinning around and headache trying to reason with these people.
But aren't these people taking themselves out of the gene pool?
Well, yeah,
No, they reproduce. See, we procreate and then they reproduce through our
ideas.
schooling
Through
system,
schooling
the public
system.
schools. But the funny thing is, we're so hyped on being a man. But how is it that the men, all we can do is gossip and babble and complain with words? And the women in the LGBTQ, they're actually the ones taking the action. That's the irony. Men are supposed to be of action. And the truth is, to your point, you said that they're ideologues, correct, which to Otto von Bismarck's epic statement, the great questions of our day will not be settled by votes or majority votes or speeches, but by blood and iron. And I want to know, how is it that we as men who know it's wrong to chop off a kid's private parts, how are we not enraged about that such that we've actually done
enraged,
something?
but we are.
That's not rage.
We're effectively neuter in that if you were to do anything about it, you end up in a cage.
How did they establish that, though? That's my point. It's
we gave some people rights to vote their fee-fees. And these people, I won't say who, had their fee-fees manipulated, and they're thinking, oh my God, cutting off penises? That's so great.
Oh, shit. All right.
Some chats?
Yeah, I heard some of these chats. This is a great discussion, man. My hair is growing back. This is fantastic.
This was a great discussion, man.
Bro, after yesterday.
My back pain's gone. Sciatica's gone.
After yesterday's show, bro, holy. Okay. What do we got
It's
here?
your
We're doing
favorite guy,
50 now.
White Chris. Everyone's
we'll
calling me
close this
White
out.
Chris.
White Chris.
So 20. What are we doing? 15 up.
15 up. Yeah.
15 up. Let's go. D Song 27 with a $50 super chat. Hi guys, great show. For the real estate guys, I don't know the difference between a hammer and a nail. I get intimidated about making a real estate investment. How do I grow my knowledge exponentially so I can be successful in investing in real estate?
There's YouTube, there's books, there's so many resources. There's our podcast. I mean,
Yeah.
There's a book called Bachelor Pad Economics
Yeah.
with an entire chapter on real estate investing.
Get the book Bachelor Pad Economics. We have a video, Real Estate Investing 101.
Beginners.
That will set you up right there, man.
That's all you need.
And then also watch Justin's videos. I did a bunch of videos with Justin on his channel, Jay Waller, where we talk about real estate for beginners as well. And we actually go through scenarios and underwrite deals.
May I also
for you guys.
recommend, he's not here, Jason Hartman. I think he's the foremost authority on real estate investing in the United States right now. So,
and if you're really
Good
serious
guy,
about it,
and he's a
get
member of MOA.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And if you're serious about it, get a mentor as well in that space.
Yeah. But you could start there. That will get you between Aaron Curry's book, Bachelor Pad Economics. You watch Real Estate 101 Investing, and then check out the podcast that I did with Justin. We literally do number deals with you guys. Like, okay, this is a deal. This is how you break it down. You'll be set right there with those three.
Moving on, we have Pesh Legan for a $49.99 super chat. Thanks so much for that.
Appreciate
I
it.
graduate with my bachelor's in IT in less than 4 months. I just finished classes. I'm getting ready to start beginning the process of my career path. Can you give me any tips? Love the channel. This is my
is you,
first
man.
super chat. Also, free the rates. I'm sure that's what he meant to say.
Free the rates.
You meant to say the Tates. You probably
He's
misspelled it.
graduating
Free the rates
in
okay.
IT.
I was actually just canceling our dinner reservation.
Oh, wow.
I just realized
He's
that. Text
talking-
me.
Oh, it's 9.
Hit
Yeah,
me with
we
that
got-
question once more. No,
Okay.
we're good.
Hey, listen, I get you guys.
No, that-
I get you guys in there anywhere you want. Just tell me what when we're done.
I graduate of my IT in less than 4 months. I just finished classes. I'm getting ready to begin the process of my career path. Can you give me any tips?
I want to give you a tip on asking a good question. No, and it's not to be disrespectful. It's because questions guide our thinking and guide our path. And you are important. And when I say that, I mean like two individuals could have similar situations, but it matters what he knows, what his age is, what his desired income is. Like these things matter. And so like my encouragement to you is this. Be specific. Pick a specific goal. How much money are you looking to earn? Did you have any specialty in IT? Because what is does anyone know what IT means? Like when he says IT, like do you have
It
any
is so
sense
vague.
Technology?
Yeah, but do you have any sense of
No.
what the skill
it's
set
vague.
is?
There's cybersecurity. There's
too
programming. There's literally thousand things.
Precisely.
It's too vague.
Yeah.
Database management, SQL,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
It can be infinite, right? And so what I'm saying is be specific, know what have a greater sense of what you want, or at least give a better description of like, this is what I've done, this is what I've studied, this is what I know, this is what my interest is, and that'll give you a little bit more guidance.
Memorize his name. If he says how much he wants to earn and what he does specifically in IT, then we can follow up if he
I would
wants
say
to.
generally though, like start looking at employers and do projects from now. So when you go to that employer for whatever it might be, hopefully it's programming. Then from there you can actually use those projects to get the job.
Also, guys, there's about 8,000 plus y'all in here, 8,300 y'all in here. I need you guys to like the goddamn video. We only got 4.7K likes.
Oh,
We should
wow.
be
Damn,
easily at
bro.
8,000.
Wow.
You guys literally got a seminar in geopolitics, getting money, frame, all that stuff. Okay,
And
who's up next?
here's the best part:
Yeah.
for free,
Yeah, for free.
no
Really.
college tuition.
Who's up? What's up next?
Alrighty, guys. White Chris here again. Peace to the Saints. Saints in the center, I guess, is that what they mean? SASN in the building. How can you build friendships? Am I having a stroke? How can you
Friendships
build
and
friendships with
friendships.
trust?
Wow. That's a really good one. I would actually like to pass that question because you have 200 people working for you. And I think that,
Friendships with trust.
yes.
Yeah, man. I think you have to spend genuine time with people and look them in the eye. I think you can learn a lot from an individual. Just be able to sit across the table and look them in the eye. You can always feel when somebody's empty. So you just spend quality time with people, treat people right, be able to remove the table and have hard conversations when they happen. The one thing that I always say about when I have an employee that's messing up, instead of having you're on this side of my desk, I'm on this side, we move the desk out the way. I get with them knee to knee, and I said, look, man, I brought you here. I brought you here because I believe in you, and I want to see you win, and I don't want you to let me down. I want you to prove me right. And I think when you can care for people on that level and you can be so strong that you can be transparent and let walls down, and they know you'll fire their ass, but you don't want to, and they know it's genuine.
Right.
If you can get there, then you can win some people's hearts. Now, you will fire some assholes.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you will win the hearts of men. And if you can do that, it only takes a few people to start a revolution, man. Once
That's
two
right.
or three people start dancing, that's the culture. And from there, it's either get like this or I don't even have to fire you anymore. My guys will fire you first.
Well said.
Bam.
Yep.
I like that.
We're moving on.
Yeah.
Fabulous. All right, so we got Samuel Stevenson for $9.99. Michael, driving back to Texas for now, but after having the opportunity to interact with you in person yesterday, I know that you're a true mentor. Tell me what I need to do to become one of your salesmen. Vegas is already calling me back.
Bam, there you go.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. I would go and try if we don't accept you because we do hiring every 60 days. I would go and try to find some other sales job that you could have to like level up the experience, or I would take Cole Gordon's sales program. He's usually the guy we hire from. Or if you want to take Way of the Wolf, Jordan Belfort stuff, that stuff is also really, really cool. But if you are a good high-ticket salesperson, you are never going to not have a job. You can work from home. It's an incredible way to make money. And it's one of these things where, like, I've seen super introverted people train themselves into becoming incredible salespeople. We're getting so good at training our guys that we're eventually going to probably start a second program training guys how to do it using Cole Gordon as our guy. That dude makes $1 million a month. He takes home $1 million a month. His company does $30 million a year, and he has very little social media presence. Really incredible, guys. Look up Cole Gordon if you're ever interested in becoming a high ticket setter or closer. Definitely do that. There you go.
All right.
All right, moving on. We got Street Intellect with the $49.99 super chat. You guys have advice for a guy who's 33, works for the city of New York, making 6 figures. I'm being mentored for e-commerce, interested in real estate. I'm looking to hit 7 figures. I also read every day. Your guys' content is game changing.
You're in a good position. You got a high earning job. Save your money. Use that money to fund your next entrepreneurial venture, and just don't fuck up and stay focused, man. Time plus consistency and discipline.
Don't get a girl pregnant.
Thank you, Dad.
That too.
Thank you, Dad.
And,
That too.
and you got a mentor, bro. Follow the mentor's advice and
Yeah.
don't think you're too smart. Learn from him.
Yeah,
at least.
but you're in a good position. You're already earning 6 figures. You're starting another side hustle. You're on a good path,
Hey,
my friend.
one other thing, make sure you're solving a problem. Make sure you're not the 754th real estate agent in your city that isn't selling anything. When I filmed MOA, it cost me $800 to build my studio. We've done $6.5 million in revenue. You guys, you can bootstrap your way through these things. You don't have to always get outside investment. There's so many incredible ways to make money that are scalable. But the reason why I ended up building this program is because I saw a bunch of pickup artists that have no leadership skills, and I saw a bunch of guys in the self-help community that had no fucking leadership skills and didn't know how to talk to women. And I built a fucking program after that. And because I was solving a problem, that's why I grew up so fast. So that's the thing I would tell you. Make sure you're solving a problem. Don't worry about your fucking passion. Solve a problem first.
There it is.
Bam.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
That like annoys the hell out of me. People add me on LinkedIn and says like, yeah, I'm a hustler. I do real estate. I do e-commerce. I do marketing. I do content creation. It's like, God damn, you're a nut and you don't do anything. Okay.
You don't do anything.
Number one, you already have a job. So you're telling me you have a full-time job and you're pursuing e-commerce and you're pursuing real estate? What are you really doing? Maybe a lot of nothing. So my frank advice is hyper-focus and run faster to figure out if e-commerce is going to be your thing. Now, yeah, many of the guys here probably have diversified financial interests. That's because he might have 200 employees. He has other people operating on his behalf. Yeah. Same with me. I'm running a lot of businesses that I don't have to put a close hand on. But when you're at the beginning, you need to hyper-focus. You need to not be scared, and you need to move quickly. I cannot hear someone talk about I'm doing e-commerce and real estate. I got 2 guys that work for me developing a real estate an e-commerce course. I don't even want to listen to them talk because there's so much depth. It's just so much depth to e-commerce. Like, how are you doing that and something else and you have a full-time job?
You'd make a good asshole consultant.
Cappy's
Fair
hired.
enough. I like it. Who's up next?
Moving on. We got Christopher Peterson with $50 super chat. Thank you so much. I am starting a new crime scene cleanup, biohazard cleanup business in Florida with
that's
my
great.
brother.
That
What
is
should be
great.
my main focus? What should the main focus of my business be when first starting?
Develop relationships with the small local police departments that will need your help that might not have the money or the resources to go ahead and pay for a more sophisticated crime scene people.
Morticians did not go through the recession of '08. Morticians did not go through the crash of 2020. Morticians did not feel it.
People always die.
People always die. This is an perfect example of solving a problem. Again, Wayne Huizinga is a billionaire. He owned Waste Management. Do you know what the biggest golf tournament in the entire United States is? It is the Waste Management Open. Wayne Huizinga, when he was owning the fucking Miami Dolphins, he wasn't sitting there saying, you know what? You know what my passion is? To clean up shit, human feces, and porta potties and diapers. And no, that wasn't his passion. Fuck your passion. Solve a problem. Become useful to other men. That is the only thing you should be worried about, especially in the beginning. Once you got 10 mil in the bank, then go ahead and create your pink taco store or your farm full of rescued cats. Do that later. Right now, your passions don't matter. The only thing that matters is obsession to solving someone else's problem. That is the key to all of this.
I will add a very critical plus. Former banker here, do accounting. Learn accounting and do it. Have good books. Have good record keeping. And if you're not willing to do that, then don't bother going into business.
I completely agree with that.
Shout out to my accountant, MJ. Shout out to MJ.
Because if you make money, you can't manage it. You're gonna lose
No,
it.
I'm just
So worse than that, you don't even know if you're making fucking money.
Right.
Facts.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
And you can't get a loan when you come in there with your crayon drawing, like, oh, here's my income
Yeah.
statement, I think. Like,
Like-
get the F out of here.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna ask for financials off the rip. That shit has to be clean. And not only that, it's like let's say you're in construction or any kind of project. Let's say you were building that e-com website. If you can't manage and properly track man hours to a said project to know whether you're profitable or not, you could be doing jobs in the negative and not even know it. Right. So many guys they don't even understand the difference between cash and accrual. Yeah, that's a good when was said transaction made? When did I actually make the money? When did I accrue this cost? Accounting, if I were to go back to college, I'd go back for psychology and accounting. That would be the two things I'd go back to school
Psychology, because they got
Yeah.
the good-looking girls.
No, just the
Understand
They do, though.
people.
they do.
Yeah.
They do. But that's not why.
Right.
It would be the psychology, but certainly the accounting. I can't support that enough. If you're going to go into business, I would choose an accounting degree over an MBA probably.
And please
Agreed.
do not be such a stupid idiot to major in entrepreneurship. If you are so dumb and so
degree?
that's a fucking degree. And
Is
every
it entrepreneurship arts?
no, it's in the business colleges.
Well, it's entrepreneurial studies, which fails the Marquette
if
test.
you need to go get a college degree to be an entrepreneur, you're not an entrepreneur. Okay.
And here's the other thing too. I will say,
true.
accounting also will give. If you guys want to get into law enforcement, you want to work for the FBI, DEA, HSI, etc. An accounting degree is fantastic. If you want to
Forensic
get into law
accounting.
enforcement,
Same.
so
Myra,
especially
can-
the feds.
Can I read something? I got this from my girlfriend's brother.
Yeah, man.
Hey, I just saw your picture on Instagram before tonight's show, and I just want to say if you could tell those guys, very single one of them, except Fresh, at the table has helped me immeasurably in becoming the best version of me.
He didn't say that.
I know he did. So I
Fuck you, bro. Messed up.
Yeah, that's messed up, bro.
He's extra fresh.
All right, anyway, continue on. I just want to say, bros, you have also inspired me to become a better version of myself. I'm in the middle of a 2-week fast right now to become an even better version of me. And I know him personally, and he has lost, I think, 50 pounds.
That's incredible.
Nice.
Yeah,
A
lot.
That's what we do this for, man.
Yeah.
That's what we do this for.
He didn't say fresh.
Get those ketones.
You're funny, man.
Who's up next?
Guys, we got the IRS on our tail. $100. I love
shit.
these Avengers episode when they provide great value for all. What is the biggest mistake you've made on your journey to where you are now? And what is the best decision you've made? P.S. Y'all deserve a tax break. I'll make it happen.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll turn it to you guys, man. They already know our,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
our channel. They
yeah.
know where we fuck up at.
Yeah.
Biggest fuck up.
The biggest fuck up and the biggest W that you could think
I
of. I
gotta
know
think
that's a
about
deep
it.
one, you guys.
Yeah, I
If you
gotta
need time, I can come
Biggest
back.
mistake is being fearful / not having faith. And I
Okay.
think the reason I was scared and I didn't have faith is because I didn't have enough proper mentorship.
Faith in yourself, you mean?
Yeah, that I was going to win. That
Okay.
like all of my efforts were going to add up to something.
Okay.
Because I was working my butt off for a long time, and I was like, am I going to get there? So that made the work so much more difficult and painful and stressful, and there was a lot of fear involved. Whereas now when I talk to young guys, I say, hey, man, like, you got the goods. Like, you're intelligent.
That's
you're
why you give
focused,
that
you're hard.
advice.
Yeah.
Go hard before you're 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the biggest screw up. Who cares about the successes? We win in every day.
Facts.
It's
Yeah.
I love
life.
that.
That's life.
You don't
Yeah.
learn from the W's, you learn from the L's. There's a reason why L and loss are the same goddamn letter, man.
Yeah.
All right.
I would probably say just, I guess my biggest L would be probably like being afraid to start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Like I had it for a long time, wanted to get into finance and really talk about finance and study finance, and I was just kind of afraid to do it because of like where I was at that time and stuff. And then that's your biggest thing is just you need to you need to fight it. Just fucking do it. Who cares? He who hesitates masturbates. Right.
I like that. What about you,
Yeah.
Charlie? Biggest L.
I would say not preparing several years in advance on taxes in terms of, right, what do you call it? When you're basically building your business and you're trying to break through, right? Before you break through, you're like, okay, it's going to take some time, right? And you don't think about the tax implication once you hit your goals, right? And so if you're not prepared for that in advance, when you do hit it, the government's going to take a fucking lot of money out of your paycheck and out of your ass, right? And that is way worse than if I invested in something and it didn't work out. I made that decision, right? In this case, right, the government literally just said, hey, how much you got over there? All right, fuck you. And so
Ironic the IRS sent the super chat in.
Right.
yeah, exactly. Right? So what I would say is just prepare in advance. Prepare several years in advance. Let's say, for example, you're planning for within the next 5 years, you're going to build whatever basically helps you to be self-sovereign, right? And it's your own business or whatever it is, right? As long as you just have, let's say, a window of 2 to 3 years where you're like, okay, I don't need it right now, but I'm going to set myself up, properly with accounting and everything, and just really be, take that very seriously and just get your shit together. And then once you hit that money, right, you'll be able to keep more of it, right? And then you'll also know where everything is.
I'm going to give you guys a pro tip right now. Get a business credit card, man. That literally is going to save your life because you literally could just, at the end of the year, just download the entire spreadsheet.
Yep.
From that one credit card, all your business expenses are there. Give that to your accountant. It makes your life and
All
his
your
life
statements.
easier.
One file.
wouldn't believe
Biggest
how many-
L for you.
You wouldn't believe how many people don't know that you can expense stuff when you have a company and
Oh,
how much of
yeah.
it gets expensed. Because that's the thing. That this is, for those of you who don't own a business and don't understand how our tax code works, you're incentivized as a business to spend money to buy further education or invest in another business. And then you don't have to pay taxes on that expense, that extra expense that goes against the profits in your company. And you'll see some companies, you're like, how in the world does Apple not pay any taxes in the United States? Is because they're running up expenses in the United States in order to do that. That's the way that works. And so many people don't even know that part. Biggest L was being triple levered to the upside during the Corona crash. That was definitely the biggest L for me. Like that was one of the things that caused me to start my own business. I mean, I definitely learned a whole lot from it. But
Triple leverage in real estate? Or?
No, triple leverage in the stock market. I
shit.
I'm working for Continental Financial Capital as a quantitative analyst, and it was one of these things where we're down 30%, and then I send in bad money after good against Tom Sosnoff's ideas, and it was a lesson that I learned, which got me to start my own business, that would be the biggest W. Number one, starting my own business, joining the U.S. military. Getting on TRT was fantastic. I'm 45 years old. Getting on TRT was absolutely fantastic.
Damn, you old nigga.
Huh? Yeah, I know.
God damn.
And lastly, this woman, she killed my father. She was a drunk driver back in 06. Wow. Forgiving her, I think that was probably one of the biggest W's. Probably changed the way I looked at everything for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Justin, biggest L and biggest W.
Biggest L.
He's like, what's an L?
I'm a W. I know you might have a few. If you want, I could come back to you. Because I know this one's going to be
I got
deep.
one. Does he need more time?
Go ahead. Oh, you got another one?
I was born ginger.
So, yeah, that's not a decision.
That's an L right off the top.
No soul.
Yeah, no soul.
How about the safety you blew up with your shoulder?
Yeah, maybe, man.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. So maybe playing college football, it did cost me my shoulder. I think I learned a lot from it. So there's that. I think that it would have been great to have left Louisiana a little faster.
Okay.
But unfortunately, because of the fact that I have a brick and mortar business, that wasn't really possible. I had to build that thing out. Biggest win, funny enough, would probably be that business. We made 13 years last week.
21 to 14.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
21 to 14.
Yeah, and yeah, I did start against Nick Saban. We beat Alabama, so
Nice.
that's a big L, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
a dub.
Big dub, yeah.
Big dub. So
You had another
yeah.
one, Aaron?
Well, I didn't even have one to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Hit
he's
that first
older.
one.
Give him some time. He's older.
I had to think. I'm so old. I had to go through the archives.
See?
All timers. L.
Biggest loss was majoring in finance. Absolutely worthless degree. Do not major in any business degree unless it's accounting. Wow. Period.
Okay.
The biggest win was realizing that there are times more frequent than you might realize that you are correct and society is wrong. And when I realized that, I realized I was not insane. Everyone else actually was wrong. It sounds like a very arrogant, cocky thing. But when you look at like, whoa, then you start making decisions based in the real world, and you just improve your profit, your rate of return on investment, your time, and everything. And so correctly assessing when society is wrong and you, the individual, is right, that was a big win.
Wow,
Okay.
that's good.
W. All right. What else?
We're going ahead?
We're caught up?
No way, Jose. Going.
Okay,
Don.
because here's the thing. We got to catch a plane here.
Yeah, so
I just realized that it's...
so let's actually do.
Are there any
a couple
hundos?
more?
There's a few hundos.
Okay, we'll do those and then we'll close out.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We literally got to catch a plane back to Miami so y'all could get fresh and fit back in Miami, man.
Facts. We're actually.
And then also, real quick, stop the goddamn show. I need you guys to stop and subscribe to every single guy
in here
on this panel.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I've been shutting the hell up and letting them do most of the talking, because I want you guys to subscribe and see the intellect here. These are guys that I call my friends, so if they're my friends, y'all need to go ahead and watch them, because I would not pick friends if I didn't know that they were bringing a lot of value.
If you combine all the knowledge in this room,
Bro.
you're gonna be superhuman.
Yo,
literally.
There's a reason why I'm shutting the fuck up and listening and writing shit down, guys.
I'm learning too.
Yeah.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Me too,
So
absolutely.
this is like fantastic. Like I'm telling y'all, man, I am literally honored to have all these guys as friends. So y'all need to go ahead and subscribe to their goddamn channel and get this sauce.
I'm learning even from old men. It's working out pretty good.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Aaron helped me write my goddamn book. Y'all enjoy this book? He helped me write this thing, okay? He edited it, helped me write it. We went back and forth. I didn't do it by myself, man. You need a team behind you, guys.
Yeah.
You need a team behind you, because women deserve less.
And they deserve less.
But your friends deserve more, so subscribe to these goddamn guys, all right, man?
I'm gonna write a book. Why did it deserve more of less? There you go.
Wow.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm just kidding.
L.
I'm just kidding.
Nice.
We'll hit the
Consult me
hundos real
first.
quick and then we'll get out of here.
All right, we got Money Net 99 super chat. Hi guys, question for Fresh: when you're hustling, making $30K at Chick-fil-A, how much home were you pre-approved for? By the way, love the show. How much home? Do you know what I mean?
Home approval for a
back then I
mortgage.
was at Chick-fil-A, so I left Chick-fil-A, went to insurance company, then I went to the tech company. There's where I bought the property.
You also had like a really good credit score, like in the high 700s,
Yeah.
and you had like 20K saved?
Yeah, it was 780. I had like 20K saved up, and that's how I got the property as well.
Credit guys,
He's
everything.
probably asking that for himself. Dude, just back into it. DCR 1.25, right? 30K. So whatever that is, debt to income ratio. What's
I don't know.
100?
You threw
No, but he's making 30K, right?
120K, maybe.
He's at
multiply
30K,
what
yeah.
he's got down payment by 4 if he's putting 20% down.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but FHA.
Five,
120K.
Is he trying to
2%.
do an Did he say he wanted an FHA?
That's what I did.
Then you multiply by
Okay.
20.
That's one way to get into with FHA.
Yeah, I mean, you could afford
5%
that.
down.
Talk to a mortgage broker. There.
That
Get,
too.
get a mentor that can help you, or a realtor that knows what you want to do specifically.
And we don't know your credit score. That
Yeah.
would greatly affect
Once
what you can
again,
get.
questions have to be answered with details.
Yeah.
We're moving on. We have another hundo by Frankify.
Yeah.
Such a fire podcast. Shout out to the guys providing value as usual. Glad I tapped into this one.
Actually, shout out to him. He's a part of my network as well. He joined, put the money up front, invested in himself, and he's interviewing people like Sneeko and other people in our group. So shout out to him.
Sick. All right.
Yeah.
Who's up next?
Another 99 super chat. Great panel of guests. Shout out to Marquette for dropping the intellectual game. Peace to the Saints.
Peace to
Bam.
the Saints.
Well said.
Marquette. I didn't want to interrupt
Is it
you
Marquette?
before. Yeah.
Sorry, you should have done it, man. I apologize.
Yeah, we got
Say it right. Damn it, Jamie.
Say my name. And that's it. That's all we
All
got.
right. Cool. So,
Guys,
Where-
where can they find you guys?
Yeah, we're gonna
What's
turn it to y'all.
coming up next for you.
yeah.
The
we're gonna
next,
find
I got
you
a lot of things, but the main thing I have came out with was like 3 days ago is a course called The Dad You Never Had.
Wow.
Whether you are from a broken home, your mom divorced your dad went out for cigarettes, never came back, or what I think is very common. You had a dad, but he did not participate in your life because he either didn't know or he just didn't participate. It is a 12-hour course where I enlisted the help of other fathers. I'm not a father, so I enlisted the help of Rollo, Cooper, all these other guys. I took all my financial knowledge. I took all my entrepreneurial knowledge. I gathered it all up, and here's a 12-hour course on Teachable, The Dad You Never Had. It's $149. I had to make my money back because it took a freaking month to record that thing. So if you are lost, and we've all talked about a lot of things here, but there is no way we could cover every possible thing that you might be missing that your dad should have taught you, take that course. I try to make it as affordable yet fair that I get compensated a little bit as possible. And then otherwise, you could contact me at Asshole Consulting if you have other questions.
12 hours of content for
Wow.
150 is a fucking deal, bro. Holy
Oh,
shit.
for 150?
150.
Yeah. I might even get it. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
ridiculous. That's
Honestly,
ridiculous.
honestly,
good skill,
Kathy,
bro.
I might get it myself. 'Cause
Yeah.
I miss you, man.
Well, if you could,
You never came back.
I got it.
You never came back.
We got the cigarettes. Aaron
White
left
boy
you.
music.
Damn it, you found me. I was trying to avoid you all this
the
time.
fuck, bro? Okay.
Mark,
Fantastic.
My wife too. My baby come out.
Yeah.
Oh, yo, why did it come at me,
I
bro?
will not stand for any of this.
Why did it come at me, bro?
Yo, if y'all think this is bad, you should see what we say behind the scenes. Oh,
God, man.
There's a lot more them boys jokes, if you know what I'm
boys.
saying.
I focus on the areas of health, wealth, and relationships. You can find me at The Saint and the Sinner on YouTube. I talk a lot about business, product-based business, simple things that everyone can do. So The Saint and the Sinner on YouTube.
Beautiful. You can find me at Dollar Cost Crypto on YouTube. And Crypto Mindset goes live April 21st. It's the first time in almost 6 months since we've done one. And I'm happy to say the last course we did, everyone's in massive profit right
They
now.
made hella money.
Hella money.
Even with the downside.
And it was so down, you could put anything in and make money.
And exactly. I mean, we really made sure to take care of these guys. A lot of guys from the Fresh and Fit family and stuff signed up and stuff. And I'm getting messages all the time of guys telling me, man, I just made my first 50,000, my first 100,000, my
Yep.
first 10,000.
Bam.
Bam, dude.
Yep.
April
That's
21st, man.
Yeah, so April 21st, follow the Dream Team, Cultivate Crypto, Dollar Cost Crypto on YouTube, Cultivate Crypto. You basically go there, go to Dollar Cost Crypto on YouTube as well. You subscribe to the channel, and then when it comes around on the 21st, you'll be ready for the Crypto Mindset course. It's premier Crypto Mindset course. It's a premier cryptocurrency education service, I guess, in the world is basically the way to put it. And so if you really want to understand deeply, right, then come over to basically Cultivate Crypto and Dollar Cost Crypto. The other thing is, it's, just lucky by chance, right? The last time we were on Fresh and Fit for the last course, right, when we were talking to you guys in Miami, it was the week of November 21st, which, if you look at the chart, is the exact week that we had the low in the bear market for Bitcoin. So, we might have the April 21st as a specific reason why we're coming out with the course on that date, because we do think basically right now, as well as probably late April, early May, are basically the two best opportunities in the first half of this year to accumulate cryptocurrency. Yeah. There will be other opportunities as well, but
Fantastic.
2023 is a year of accumulation.
Hell, I bought some Ethereum the other day with Miguel, so you guys got to get in, man.
Post coming soon.
Yeah.
You guys can find me at moamentoring.com. Please do not open that at work. It is not safe for work. I have about 500 clients right now. Well, actually closing in on 600. The course is on high status networking, social networking. So we first thing we do is actually teach you how to fix your social media. This is something a lot of people talk about in general. We go step by step on how to do this. And then we go through entrepreneurship, leadership. We go heavy into evolutionary psychology, whether it's Gad Sad, Dr. David Buss, who's been on my program before. This is an evidence-based program. We go into mindset, and then we have several interviews that are you'll see that are part of my program. If you guys don't understand what I'm talking about, just go check me out on Instagram. Go with Michael Sartain. I teach you networking in general. Now I show a lot of influencers, there's a lot of hot girls on my stuff. The reason why I do that is because it's harder to keep their attention. And if you can bench press 300 pounds, then you can bench press 200 pounds. If you can get 100 Playboy models to come to your party, when you do a real estate broker, a mortgage brokers event, super easy to get them all to show up, right? 100 times easier. Guys, the proof is in the pudding. There's 50 testimonials on there. I also have a free school server where I will show you 30 different perfectly curated Instagrams so that we can fix your Instagram. We can start today to do that. You guys absolutely can do it. And by the way, if those of you want to support Rolo Tomasi, use his code because he's one of our affiliates for MOA mentoring, and we'd love to have you guys come check us out. The other thing is the Michael Sartain podcast is a podcast on evolutionary psychology. There's only 2 podcasts on evolutionary psychology on the planet. One of them, the other one is called Beat Your Genes. We do a podcast basically basically we take all these different things where it comes to economics, where it comes to behaviorism, where it comes to intersexual dynamics, and we relate that to the survival scenario. We relate that to what are the proclivities that caused human beings to be able to survive and replicate, down to our most basic instincts and proclivities. And we use a lot of the teachings of Dr. David Buss, who was on Joe Rogan yesterday. So if you guys want to learn an evidence-based approach, there is no fucking feelings. My opinions don't mean shit, and neither do yours. If you want an actual evidence-based approach to understanding that pre-selection is actually called mate choice copying and how it actually works, and what are the experiments that prove that it works, please join our course. Also, I have a 30-book list that you go through. The course is about 1,500 hours long. It is going to take you at least 6 months to get through. So if you guys are interested in that, go to moamentoring.com.
Bam. Get the nuts and bolts of evolutionary psychology, man. I mean, hey, that's the shit I debate with these dumbass hoes. I'd be studying it myself, guys. That's why it's like, fuck your feelings, bitch. All right, Justin, take us home.
Jay Waller, YouTube. Y'all know what I do. Just come see me.
Bam. We're gonna do another. We're gonna do another 6
right
Short and sweet.
Just so y'all know, I'm
wanna
definitely
date him now?
when
I
I
don't
get back
understand
to
what's
Miami. Well, whenever he's in Miami, we're gonna do another 6-hour stream for y'all. So don't worry, I'm gonna be on Justin's channel very soon for another collab for you guys. Help you guys stop being
And a
fucking
fun
pussies.
fact: I wore a suit for the first time in 7 years on his podcast. So shout out to Justin, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So shout out to the homie Justin. He's our neighbor up there in Miami anyway. So
White boy.
yeah.
Music.
Guys, go check them all out, man. All their channels are below. I'm going to put all their Instagrams and links below as well. Don't forget to like the video. Love you guys. We'll catch you guys on the
Miami.
next one.
Monday.
Peace.
Peace. Saints.